Our next broadcast was one of the most popular radio shows in history. The show went on the air in August of 1930. The opening lines of this detective story program captivated listeners and are instantly recognizable even today. Originally, the narrator of the story of macabre tales became so popular that the broadcast was soon renamed, and the narrator became the star of the old-time mystery radio series, which ran until 1954. A figure never seen, only heard, he possessed many gifts which enabled him to overcome any enemy. Besides his tremendous strength, he could defy gravity, speak any language, unravel any code, and become invisible with his famous ability to cloud men's minds. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows, next on HOJO Radio.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows.
Blue Coal presents The Shadow, a man of mystery who strikes terror in the very souls of sharpsters, lawbreakers, and criminals. All signs point to a severe winter. Be prepared. If you want to be sure of even, dependable, healthful heat in any kind of weather, insist on Blue Coal, America's finest anthracite mined from the fields of northern Pennsylvania. The coal that is colored a harmless blue at the mines for your protection.
You can't have me to the jail. You can't do it. Let me out of here. Let me.
Paul Gordon, listen.
Huh? I can't see anybody. Who's that?
I am the Shadow. Stop. We haven't much time. We must hurry, Gordon. You're in the death house, charged with murder.
Yes, I'm innocent. I'm innocent. But nobody knows it.
Take courage, Gordon. The Shadow knows.
All right, Margot, won't you sit down? I told Albo to serve our coffee here in the library. I should rather go on the terrace.
No, I prefer it here.
Then let me see you smile. That frown is most unbecoming.
Lamont, give it up.
Give what up, my dear? Drinking coffee?
I'm serious, Lamont Cranston. When I foolishly let you know that... Do you remember what you said? It will be exactly 5 years next week.
But there's still so much to do, Margot.
Well, then let somebody else do it. Don't you realize that you can't keep on like this forever? Someone's certain to identify you, and when that someone does, someone else is certain to kill you.
Perhaps, but until they do... Oh, darling, stop frowning.
I don't mean necessarily to give up your work, Lamont, but this other. Let the Shadow just disappear and come out openly. Join the organized forces of law and police.
Won't you realize, Margot, that my entire usefulness to the organized forces of law and police lies in my remaining outside those forces, in remaining always the Shadow? Would they approve my methods? Would they believe in my science?
You would make them believe. You could make them approve.
And in doing so, reveal my secrets, my knowledge. Reveal them and eventually let them fall into the hands of organized crime. No, Margot. No one must ever know. No one but you. Why do you think I've devoted countless hours to investigating electrical and chemical phenomena? Why do you think I went to India, to Egypt, to China? What do you think I studied in London, Paris, and Vienna? Except to learn the old mysteries that modern science has not yet rediscovered. The natural magic modern psychology is beginning to understand, and, well, magic that wouldn't seem so natural. I studied and learned for a purpose, my dear.
All right, Lamont, I realize all that. But now the entire underworld has but one objective: to erase the Shadow. And to me, that means...
Until they know what the Shadow is and who he is, what can they do? Stop and think how many criminals are either dead or in prison because of our activities. Why, even now, tonight, as we sit quietly here, somewhere An innocent human being may be in desperate trouble. Somewhere, perhaps, there is a problem that can never be solved, except by the shadow.
What did the doctor say, Grace?
It was good news and bad, too, I'm afraid, dear.
Well, whatever it was, dear, tell me.
Well, he said the baby could be perfectly well again within a year.
Oh, thank God for that. Poor kid. She's had a tough time. Well, what else?
Well, this part isn't so good, Paul. She'll need treatments during all that time. Paul, treatments cost money.
I know. Well, we'll have to manage somehow. You didn't do a very good job marrying me, dear.
Darling.
If I could only get a job. I've got my health and I've got brains. But no one seems to want them.
Oh, they will, dear. They've got to.
You're right about that. We're just about down to rock bottom. I raised every cent I can on the house and car. There isn't anything left.
You and I are still left, Paul. And we've got to take care of Sally. She's our daughter, Paul, and she's got to have her chance.
And she's going to have it. Somehow. Tomorrow I'll start out and take anything I can get.
Darling, perhaps tomorrow things will break for us.
Yes. If only they don't break the wrong way.
No more beds. Okay.
Over here.
Take these two over,
Excuse me, but are you the boss here?
That's right.
I'm looking for a job.
Nothing doing, buddy.
I'll do anything. Wait on table, wash dishes, anything at all.
I don't need any more help.
Well, how about delivering things? I've got a car.
Nope, I don't deliver nothing. Sorry, don't need you.
I see. All right. Thanks.
Hey, you.
What? You calling to me?
Yeah, sit down. Have a beer.
No, thanks. I don't drink.
Anyhow, sit down. Meet a friend of mine named Lefty. My name's Red. Look at my hair and you'll know why.
Well, I'm glad to meet you both. And Gordon's my name, Paul Gordon. Well, do you want to talk to me about something?
We might be able to help you out. Sounds like you're looking for a job.
You bet I am. I need one. You know anybody that could use me?
Maybe. We don't know you yet.
So far as that goes, I don't know you either.
See, Red, the guy's smart.
Yeah, maybe too smart.
Now, look here, Mr. Gordon. We need a car, and we need somebody to drive it for us. You understand?
Well, I've got a car, and I can drive.
Is it a good car? Has it got speed?
I'll guarantee you up to 80.
It's not bad. It's not bad. Now, listen, kid. How about meeting us tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock?
All right. Where?
Well, let's see. We're going to... I got it. Right in front of the Uptown Bank. We got to go there first to cash a check.
Well, how about $5 a day?
That's so. But you remember, be there at 9 o'clock or you don't get no job.
Don't worry, I'll be there. I'll be there at 8 o'clock.
Hey, buddy, you can't keep this car in front of the bank all day. I just see that sign, no parking.
I'm not parking, officer. I'm waiting for a couple of men. I'm working for them.
Oh.
Hey, what's that? Sounds like shots in the bank.
Hey, stop there, you.
You got him, Lefty. Here he is with the car. Come on, you. Start that bus door.
Step on it, fella. Hey, buddy, you can't do that.
Go on, I will shoot.
Let him have it, Red. Hold him off.
I'll hold him. Wish I'd never have shot that cop. Can't you get no more speed out of this car, fella?
She's doing all she can.
Shoot at their tires, Red.
Missed him.
Try the windshield.
Say, let me out of this. Take the car. Don't think I'm in with you.
That's just what we're figuring on. Now, here comes a curve. After you make that, stop. Get ready, Red.
I'm ready. I'm just leaving the evidence.
Put it under the seat cushion.
Right.
Okay, goodbye, Gordon.
Thanks for the...
Hey, wait, you guys. Don't leave me like this. They'll think I did it. Hey, come on back, will you?
Up with their hands. Come on, get them up.
All right, officer. I haven't got a gun. I wasn't in this. They made me drive the car.
Yeah, keep your hands up just the same. Now, fill the car, Charlie.
Okay, Sarge.
Now, fella, you might as well come clean on this.
I haven't done anything. I tell you, I'm innocent.
Hey, Sarge, I got it. Under the rear seat cushion, a bag full of bills and a gun.
That's the gun that bumped off my buddy Louie. And you say you're innocent.
Yes, I am.
Well, it'll take more than saying so to keep you out of the electric chair.
Order in the court. Order in the court. Paul Gordon, the jury have found you guilty of robbery under arms and statutory murder. You have been shown to have had both motive and opportunity. The prosecution has piled up a mass of incontrovertible evidence, and I myself have no doubt of your guilt. Therefore, in accordance with the law, I direct that you be taken from here to the place from whence you came, and that there you be put to death in the manner stated by the law. And may God have mercy on your soul.
Hey, who's that? Where's that man?
Who laughed? Bring that person before the court.
Well, I don't know where he is, Your Honor.
The laugh came from over there, in that corner.
Yes. Yes, Your Honor, but there's no one in that corner. Only a shadow.
Go to sleep, dear. Mother'll be right here in the next room.
Oh, God. Please help me. Help me. I don't know what to do.
Yes? Who is it?
My name is Margot Lane. I have a message for you, Mrs. Gordon.
You're not a reporter, are you?
No, I'm a friend. I've come to help.
Oh, then please come in. What is it you want, Miss Lane?
Mrs. Gordon, your husband has a friend who's going to help him. Here's $1,000 in cash.
What?
That's for you and Sally.
1,000? Who was it sent this to me?
Well, that I can't tell you. But the message with it is not to lose hope.
Oh, but there is hope for Paul, then.
The man who sent this to you never fails.
Who is he?
Well, that I can't tell you.
But, Miss Lane, you know him.
Sometimes I wonder whether I do. I love him. But I wonder whether I know him.
What do you mean?
It's hard to tell whether I really know the man or only his shadow.
Well, Lefty, tonight the Paul guy goes to the chair.
That's what he gets for being a sucker.
Yeah, there's not a clue that even points our way.
Not even a print. We had gloves on all the time.
You had yours off for a minute when you were sitting next to him.
Yeah, but I didn't touch the wheel.
Then we ain't left a clue.
You think so?
Who said that? You, Lefty?
No, I thought it was you.
It was I. You cannot see me.
Who are you?
And where are you?
I am here in the room, in the shadow. You have pinned your crime on an innocent man. He shall not suffer, but you will.
I don't know who you are, where you are, but you're bluffing anyway. You got no evidence. We didn't leave a clue.
You did leave a clue. A clue that will send you to the chair.
Where was it? Where was it? You're lying.
Wouldn't you like to believe that? Keep thinking about it. Keep thinking about the clue that you forgot. Margot Lane. Paul Gordon is in the death house and is to die in the chair tonight. I am going to him now. We can still save him. Stand by for orders.
In a few moments, we will return to the shadow. But before we do, let me stress this one fact. For home heating, anthracite is best. And America's finest anthracite is blue coal. Anthracite is the healthful fuel. It gives steady, uniform heat that helps prevent colds and cuts down doctor's bills. For with anthracite, there is no quick chilling of the house, such as you get with fuels of the on and off type, or with quick burning fuels that flare up and burn out. Bear in mind that heating plants in this part of the country were especially designed to burn anthracite. So before that cold snap catches you unaware, call your local blue coal dealer. You'll find his name listed in the Where to Buy It section of your classified directory under the words Blue Coal. Call him tomorrow and order a supply of America's finest anthracite.
Have you got any word from the governor?
I'm sorry, Gordon. The governor refuses to take any action.
Then I've got to go. Tonight?
At 11 o'clock.
What time is it now?
Almost 10. Is there anything I can do for you?
No. Thank you, Walt.
Very well. These guards will move you to another cell. I'll be back in a little while.
Ready, Gordon?
Yes, guard.
I'm just going to move you to another cell.
What does it matter?
The one you're going to is nearer.
Nearer to the chair, is that it? All right. Let's go.
All right, Gordon. Walk to the left.
He'll be right here behind you.
Unlock the door into this preparation chamber, Pete.
Okay, just a second.
All right. Going through, Gordon. Watch him, Pete. I'll shut the door.
What's the use of all this trouble? What chance have I got now?
I'm afraid you haven't got much, fella.
I wouldn't say that.
What do you mean?
Holy smokes. Look behind you.
Where?
There. Oh, too bad. I hated to do that, but there wasn't any other way, and he'll only be out for a while. Now, Gordon, listen to me.
Hey, where are you? I can't see you anymore. Where have you gone?
Back into the shadow. Now, Gordon, we haven't much time. Listen to me. No crime is perfect. There's always somewhere a loose end. The only reason that all crimes aren't solved is because there's some one fact that someone knows and doesn't tell. And sometimes they don't tell because they don't know that they know.
I told everything I know in court. They wouldn't believe me then.
Because you couldn't prove what you said. We are going after the proof now. You and I.
How?
I'm going to think with your mind.
I don't know what you mean.
Don't try to understand. Just do as I tell you. I want you to concentrate, Gordon. Fix your mind on everything that happened that day. Make mental pictures. I'll see what you see.
I'll try.
No, Gordon. Stop thinking about your wife and baby.
How did you know I was thinking about
I
them?
saw it in your mind. I see in my mind the pictures you create in yours.
Oh, like television?
Yes, or like mental telepathy or mind reading, hypnotism, whatever you choose. There's no time to talk. Stop talking. Think.
I will. I'm thinking now.
The picture is getting clearer. That's better. Go on. The restaurant? The bar? Gordon, stop thinking about the electric chair. It blurs the picture.
I'll try.
That's better. The car in front of the bank. Yes, I see it. The policeman. The crowd. Yes. Wait a minute. The small man with red hair. He was the one you called Red.
Yes,
I see him. Crooked nose, short, glasses. I know that man. He's Red Sloan.
It's hard to see.
I know. Think for your life.
Try hard. Yes, you started the car. The other, Lefty, was in front with you. Lefty. See him for me, Gordon. Ah, yes. A scar on his left cheek. Why didn't you mention that in court?
I forgot.
Never mind. Concentrate. Yes. Lefty couldn't keep you covered with a gun and look back at the same time. What did he do?
He reached up and twisted the rear view mirror.
Now we've got it. That's the loose end. That's where his thumbprint will be. Gordon, now I can save you. You've told the truth. You didn't know you knew.
Another one over here.
Red, you're a fool for coming in here again. This is the place we picked up that kid that's burning tonight. What'd you want to come in here for?
This is as good a place as any, ain't it?
Hey, telephone for you, Lefty.
Telephone?
Yeah, maybe you never heard of it, but it's a great invention.
But nobody knows I'm here.
Well, somebody knows because they're waiting on the phone for you. It's over there on the wall.
Okay.
Don't be too long, Lefty.
Hello? Hey, what are you laughing at? Who is this?
Lefty, did you ever hear of the shadow?
Yeah. Say, what is this?
Too bad about young Gordon, isn't it, Lefty?
What do you know about that?
The shadow knows.
Who are you? What do you want?
I want justice. Justice for Paul Gordon, Lefty. And I'm going to get it.
But you ain't got no evidence.
No. Perhaps there are some fingerprints, Lefty.
Oh, no. We had gloves on. There couldn't be no fingerprints.
Did you have gloves on all the time?
Yeah, sure. I did.
You're left-handed. Now listen carefully, Lefty. When you were sitting in the front seat of Gordon's car, your gun was in your left hand. Remember?
Say, you ain't nobody, are you? It's just... Say... How do you know?
What did you do with your right hand?
My right hand?
You took off your right glove, didn't you?
No, I didn't. No. Gosh, I'm going nuts.
And you couldn't see the car that was chasing you because the angle of the rear view mirror was adjusted for the driver and you weren't driving, so... Do you remember what you did?
No, I didn't. I didn't take it off.
Are you sure you didn't reach up with your bare right hand and turn that rear view mirror? Are you sure, Lefty?
No, I didn't. Maybe I did that.
If the police find that fingerprint, you'll burn, Lefty. Just the way young Gordon's going to burn tonight. Goodbye, Lefty.
Hey, wait a minute. He hung up. No. I won't burn. Hey, Red.
It certainly jammed long enough. Say, who was the guy
Never mind that. Where's that car of Gordon's now?
In his garage. I guess I heard his wife.
Listen.
What?
I got a hunch. There's some fingerprints of mine on that car. Red, we gotta wipe them off of there, or maybe we'll burn in that chair, too.
Come on, let's go.
But, Commissioner...
I'm sorry, Miss Lane, but I don't see what we can do.
But I tell you, Paul Gordon is innocent. The men who committed the crime are free.
Where did you get this information?
Oh, that I can't tell you.
Miss Lane, Paul Gordon was convicted of murder by due processes of law. Tonight he pays for his crime in the electric chair. If the police listened to every crank who came in here claiming new
But
evidence...
they can't send an innocent man to the chair. They can't do it.
No, but they can send a guilty man. And according to the evidence, Paul Gordon is guilty.
Commissioner, suppose that afterwards, when it's too late, they discover that Paul Gordon wasn't guilty after all. And suppose I testify that the police refused to listen.
Well, what do you want me to do? If it's within reason, I'll do that.
I want you to send some men to that garage. I want you to catch the guilty men and see that justice is done.
I'm frightened. Brace up, Gordon. It won't be long.
Take that chin up, buddy. My turn next. long, fella. Good luck.
Goodbye, kid.
Where is he? He promised to save me.
Who, son?
I don't know. It was a voice. Just a voice. He said he'd stand by.
Now, steady, old man. Don't lose your nerve, Gordon. Open it up, men.
No, I won't go in there. I didn't do it. I didn't kill him. I didn't, I tell you. He said he'd stand by. Warden, wait. Only a few minutes more. Just a few minutes. Don't take me in there yet. Now, wait, please. He said, please wait.
Easy, Gordon. I'm sorry.
If I go in that door, I'm gone. It'll be too late then.
Take him in, men.
No, wait. Oh, where are you? Where's that voice? Where did he go? Please come back.
Warden!
Wait a minute, men. Well, what is it?
Warden, wait. The governor's on the phone. He says stop. Hold up everything.
What did the governor say?
He wants to talk to you on the phone, Warden. He says don't electrocute this man. They've got the other two guys in Gordon's garage trying to rub out some fingerprints. One of them was shot and died. But before he died, he spilled it all. This fellow didn't do it. It was a frame-up.
Oh, thank God he got me in time. Gordon! Did you hear that?
Yes, I heard it. That voice said he would. I'm free. You're not going to electrocute me, Warden. You're not.
No, Gordon. The governor saved you.
Governor? No, it wasn't the governor. It was somebody else. Or something else.
But what do you mean, Gordon? Who saved you?
I don't know. It was a voice. Just a voice. I never really saw him. He was only a shadow.
Before another adventure with the Shadow draws to a close, John Barclay, Blue Coal's heating expert, would like to say a few words. Mr. Barclay.
Good evening, friends. If you're interested in having a more comfortable home this winter, be sure to call your local Blue Coal dealer. For he's more than a fuel dealer. He's an authority on modern home heating. You see, for more than 6 years, I've trained servicemen for these Blue Coal dealers. These men, known as John Barclay servicemen, have added thousands of families like yours to enjoy a greater degree of comfort and to save heating dollars, too. I'm going to read part of a letter typical of many received from satisfied customers using Blue Coal and John Barclay service. I quote in part. The service rendered by your John Barclay servicemen has been invaluable to me. We were burning a ton of coal a week and having great difficulty in keeping our fire going throughout the night. Your serviceman made me many helpful suggestions regarding the proper way to regulate the furnace and recommended the use of Blue Coal. We not only reduced the amount of fuel consumed to 1/2, but actually got more heat. Think of that, friends. In this case, a family cut their fuel bill in half simply by following the advice of a John Barclay serviceman, whose services were given without charge. Now, you don't have to buy Blue Coal to benefit from John Barclay service. No matter what kind of fuel you're using or from whom you've been buying, if you have any heating problems, consult the Blue Coal dealer. He'll be very glad to place his John Barclay serviceman at your disposal to solve your problems. I thank you.
The story you have just heard is copyrighted by the Shadow magazine. Real names are never used in these Shadow stories.
The weed of crime bears bitter fruit. Crime does not pay. The Shadow knows.
Next week at this
You're listening to HOJO Radio. More classic old-time radio coming your way next.
What evil lurks in the hearts of men. The shadow knows.
Blue Coal presents The Shadow, the man of mystery who strikes terror into the hearts of shopsters, lawbreakers, and criminals. Friends, if you haven't yet tried Blue Coal, by all means order your first ton tomorrow. You'll like this excellent Pennsylvania hard coal. It's America's finest anthracite and can be depended upon to keep your home comfortable and healthfully warm all winter long. But be sure you get this finest anthracite. Ask for it by name. Ask for Blue Coal, the coal that is colored a harmless blue at the mines for your protection. Is in reality Lamont Cranston, wealthy young man about town. Years ago, in the Orient, Cranston learned a strange and mysterious secret. The hypnotic power to cloud men's minds so they cannot see him. Cranston's friend and companion, the lovely Margot Lane, is the only person who knows to whom the voice of the invisible shadow belongs. Tonight's episode, Murder by the Dead.
The court will come to order. The court will come to order.
The prisoner will stand. Peter Swift, you've been found guilty of willful and deliberate murder after a fair and impartial trial. Have you anything to say before sentence is pronounced upon you?
Yeah. I got something to say.
Very well, be brief.
Oh, I'll be brief, all right. You think you're going to kill me, but you ain't. I'll get you. Yes, you up on the bench there, and I'll get that district attorney, too. And just for good luck, I'll get the foreman of that crooked jury that railroaded me. Do you understand?
Perfectly. Your threats against the district attorney and the foreman of the jury will, I am sure, go as unnoticed as your threat against myself. Peter Swift, I hereby sentence you to be taken from here to the place from whence you came, and that there you be executed in the manner provided by the law. And may God have mercy on your soul.
Oh, you will hang me, will you, you old fool? I'll get you, all three. And if I can't get you living, I'll get you dead.
Take him away.
Cranston, good to have you back in America again.
Margot, I cabled you that I was coming at once, just as soon as I got that frantic message from you. What's it all about?
Lamont, the district attorney's star was murdered last week.
Yes, I know. I saw it in the papers.
I cabled you because I was afraid.
Afraid? You? What's the matter? Spooks?
Well, I'm trying to believe it isn't.
Oh, darling, you're talking nonsense.
I only hope I am. Lamont, it was District Attorney Stowe who prosecuted that murder of Peter Swift 6 months ago.
Yes, I remember. The chap who threatened to come back and get Stowe and Judge Clive and the foreman of the jury.
You haven't forgotten who the foreman of the jury was, have you?
Oh, by George. It was your father, wasn't it, Margot? Your father is the third on the list to die.
Now do you understand?
Oh, but my dearest girl, you surely don't intend to suggest that... But I mean, Peter Swift was hanged.
All I know is that 3 men were threatened, and one of them is dead.
A coincidence, of course.
Well, perhaps. But I know you'll think I'm a fool, Lamont, but... And I don't know how, but perhaps Peter Swift has come back.
Peter Swift was executed. Hanging is usually effective. But there is something in what you say. I wonder now.
So we're asked to believe that Peter Swift has come back from the land of shades to kill 3 men.
3 were threatened. 1 is dead, murdered.
The killer must be, then, a ghost, a shade. Well, my dear, I suppose there's only one thing that can be opposed to a shade.
And that is?
A shadow. My dear Margot, a shadow.
Will there be anything else, Judge Clive?
No, that's all, Taylor. You might as well go to bed. I've got some work to do here in the library. They keep me up for quite a while.
Yes, sir. Good night, sir.
Poor Joe. I wish I could forget him. What's that? What's that? Who opened that window? You!
Oh, yes. You see me, Judge?
Peter Swift? But this is impossible.
Oh, the dead has come back to keep my promise.
You're mad. Or I am.
Ghosts have never had your heart.
Ghosts?
But I can't don't say no. Would you? That's 2 of them. 1 more to go.
Cardona, you got that Clive housekeeper outside?
Yes, Commissioner.
I'll shoot her in. I'll get to the bottom of Judge Clive's murder. It's the last thing I ever do.
Come in, Taylor. Commissioner Wilson wants to talk to you.
Oh, yes, sir.
Mrs. Taylor?
Yes, sir.
I want to check your story. You told Sergeant Riley you left Judge Clive in his library about 11 o'clock?
That's right, sir.
Then what did you do?
I locked the front door, and then I started to go up to bed.
Go on.
As I was passing the library door, I heard voices inside. So I listened. You see, I had let no one in, because I was surprised.
Don't apologize. What did you hear?
I heard a hushed voice. And then there were 2 shots, and the bell jangled.
Now, you tried the door. It was locked. So you ran around outside the house to the window, which you found open, right?
That's right, sir.
What kind of a voice was it you heard?
Well, it was a kind of a hoarse, whispering voice. I couldn't make out what it said.
I see. All right, Mrs. Taylor, that'll be all for the present.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Weston.
Yeah.
You think the shadow murdered Judge Clive?
I don't know. Commissioner Weston speaking. You.
So, you recognize my voice, Commissioner? I'm flattered.
I wish I could get my hands on you.
Get your hands on a shadow. Come, Commissioner.
What do you want?
As usual, just to be helpful.
I can do without your help.
I wonder. I've got a little suggestion for you. Have you ever thought of exhuming the body of Peter Swift?
Peter Swift has been dead for 6 months. What do you want me to do? Get you a lock of his hair? Trace this conker.
No bother. I'm walking from a booth at Union Station, and I'll be gone before you can get anyone here. No, Commissioner, I don't want a lock of Peter Swift's hair. Even if I did, I suspect you couldn't get it for me. I imagine he's still wearing it.
Yeah, maybe. In his car.
I wonder. District Attorney Stowe and Judge Clive have been murdered. There's only Mr. Lane left.
I don't believe in ghosts.
No. But you believe in shadow, don't you?
Hello.
What was that all about?
Cardona, get an order for the exhumation of Peter Swift's body.
Margot, stand by for orders. The police are on the right track, but they may be too late. Go to the Warden State Prison. Pose as a newspaper reporter. Find out what disposition was made of Peter Swift's body following his execution. Hurry. Every second counts.
Sure. Well, planted him deep, didn't they, Commissioner?
I don't want any cracks on it. Chronicle, haven't they gotten down to that coffin yet?
How you coming, boys?
Just hit the coffin, sir. We'll have it out soon, then.
Well, snap into it and get the ropes on. I don't care much about this contract. The digging of murderers in the middle of the night isn't my style.
I'll have to take charge, sir.
I know, Mike. But this is more or less of a personal matter between myself and that fiend who calls himself the Shadow. Get on those ropes.
All right, boys. Pull those ropes.
All right, hold that rope short. We don't want it slipping back on us. Now pull.
Here she comes, sir.
All right. Get busy with those screwdrivers and get the lid off.
It's just nailed on, Commissioner.
Then pry it off.
Yeah. That does it.
She's open, Commissioner.
Well, let me look. Now we'll know. What's this?
Looks to me like bricks. The coffin's filled with bricks.
But where's the body? Where's Peter Swift?
Ask the Shadow. Shadow, no.
While we're waiting for the Shadow, I want to pass on a bit of advice of particular interest to all homeowners. If you're anxious to cut down your doctor's bills this winter, to keep your family free from a lot of sniffles and colds, then by all means burn anthracite or hard coal, because anthracite is the healthful fuel. It gives steady, even, healthful heat, in contrast to the flashy kind of heat you get from the on and off types of quick-burning fuels. And friend, don't forget this point. Furnaces, cook stoves, and space heaters in this section of the country were especially designed to burn anthracite. And to get America's finest anthracite, ask for blue coal. Blue coal burns long and evenly, with the furnace dampers practically closed. There's no waste up the chimney. It gives economical as well as healthful heat. Blue coal is mined by the Glen Alden Coal Company, the world's largest producers of Pennsylvania anthracite. It is laboratory tested at the mines for purity and for uniformity of size. If you have never tried blue coal, place a trial order tomorrow. You'll find the name of your nearest blue coal dealer listed in the Where to Buy It section of your classified telephone directory under the name Blue Coal.
Oh, Lamont. Thank heavens you're back.
Well, come in, Margot.
Lamont, I was right about Peter Swift. I was right.
Yes, I know you were. I found out from another source. My darling, you're trembling. What's the matter?
Oh, I'm all right. I've just come from the prison now. I guess all that talk about bodies and executions has unnerved me a little.
Well, I'm terribly sorry I had to ask you to do it, but time is so short, and I had to be somewhere else.
Oh, I understand.
No, calm down, and tell me just what happened from the beginning.
Well, I went to see the warden, said I was a newspaper reporter, as you told me to, and asked him what happened to the bodies of executed men.
Yes?
Well, he told me if the relatives don't claim the body, it's turned over to the state medical college.
Yes.
So I asked him about Peter Swift.
Go on.
The warden said that according to the record, Peter Swift's family called for his remains. However, he said as long as I was interested, he'd send for the guard at the south gate. He'd know all about it. Pretty soon, the guard came up from the warden's office.
Come in.
You wanted to see me, Warden?
Come in, Sloan. This is Miss Lane. She's a newspaper reporter.
Oh, pleased to meet you, miss.
She wants to ask you about the removal of bodies.
Okay, I can tell you about every stick that's left here in the past 15 years.
Well, you see, I just wanted to
Well,
ask...
the first one I ever saw was Grimes. He was hung up for murdering his mother with an axe. Well, ma'am, when they come for him, they...
Just a minute, Sloan. There's one in particular Miss Lane is interested in. Swift.
Oh, Peter Swift, huh?
That's right. Remember him?
Oh, certainly.
His family was supposed to come for him, but they didn't come after all.
No?
Nah. A croaker named Cragg came for the body in an old truck.
A croaker?
He means a doctor, Miss Lane.
Oh.
That's the rather unflattering prison term for a medico.
Oh.
Yeah. I reckon this croaker Cragg had bought the body. Anyways, he took it away quick. He was in a great hurry, too. The skip wasn't even cold yet.
Do you know where this Dr. Cragg came from?
Sure, from the city. I got his address on the register down at the gate. You want it?
Oh, yes, please. Thank you very much, sir.
A doctor named Cragg, Margot? Do you have his address?
Yes, here it is.
Oh, thank you. Now, listen, Margot, I've got to go out now.
Lamont, I'm going with you.
No, you're not. You're going home to be sure that your father doesn't leave the house until this thing is cleared up. I don't think it'll be for long, but I don't want to take chances on his safety.
But where are you going?
Shadow is going to pay a visit to a certain Dr. Cragg.
The solvent, at last. I got it.
Dr. Cragg?
Huh? Who's that? Who spoke?
Does it matter? I'm right here at your elbow.
You lie. I'm the only person in the room.
Oh, no, you're not, Doctor. But I wouldn't turn around to find out if I were you.
Where are you? Where's that voice coming from? I can swear there's no one else here.
Then you must be having hallucinations. Wasn't you, Doctor?
I'm sane. Sane.
I'm sure you are, but you can't see me, that's all.
What do you want?
Just a favor at a price. A good price.
How much?
$20,000.
Yes, a good price. Well,
I've got a friend booked to hang on the 23rd of this month.
What's that got to do with me?
My dad. $20,000.
Who's your friend?
His name is Louis. Three-fingered Louis.
Well, what am I supposed to do about it?
Perhaps you could keep him alive.
Oh. Why, come to me.
Not that gun, Doctor. I've got you covered.
You dirty!
You can't shoot the shadow.
Shadow? You don't mean...
Yes, I mean the shadow, Doctor. The shadow just wants a little information.
You won't get it.
Little information as to how you resuscitated Peter Swift. Brought him back from the dead, if you prefer the term.
I won't tell you.
And restored his broken neck.
I did it. I've proved I can do it. But it's my secret. I don't care if you are a shadow or the shadow. You can't have my secret. No one can have it. It's mine.
Perhaps you trade your secret for mine. My secret of blinding eyes to the obvious. I can teach it to you in a few minutes. The shadow secret of invisibility.
Well, I'm not interested in your secret, some psychological touch. What's the power of making oneself invisible compared to the secret of making the dead live?
Perhaps you're right. Perhaps there is no comparison. But where'd you learn that secret, Cragg? Tibet or an African jungle?
I won't tell you. It's mine.
For how long will it be yours?
For as long as I want it to be. Forever and for all eternity. Because only I know the secret, and I shall never reveal it. No. They call me a madman. They shouldn't have put me in an institution.
You're a mad, Cragg.
No. I am a genius.
Well, you benefited by an exceedingly rare coincidence.
No.
A coincidence might happen one time in a billion, one time in a trillion.
It is no coincidence, I tell you. It was my genius. And I shall hold my secret. I shall continue to make the dead live.
You're making Peter Swift live has caused two other men to die. To die at the hands of Peter Swift.
And what interest is that to me? I am not interested in that.
Not interested in the fact that the third man may die tonight. A man named Ross Lane.
What do I care about Ross Lane alive or dead? It is nothing to me.
Will you bring Ross Lane back to life?
Oh, I could. I can bring anyone back from the dead. I tell you, I have found the secret of life over death. I can prove it again and again. I can prove it on myself. I can die and bring myself Back to life.
You are mad, Drag.
Oh, am I? Am I
Don't
mad?
Drag.
Yeah, I'm only putting my gun on the table.
Very well, then.
I'm not afraid of you, even though I can't see you. You see?
Yes, Drag.
And I will prove to you what I just said. I am not mad. I am a genius. I have found the secret.
What was that? Why did you put that fountain pen in your mouth? Oh. So that's it. Potassium cyanide in that pen, huh? And you think you'll bring yourself back to life, huh? Right, you were a fool. You were a madman. So now, as the shadow against the ghost. Ghost of Peter Swift. But never the ghost of Dr. Drag.
That you, Jenkins? Good. I'll be right out.
But Mr. Lane, sir, Miss Margot left strict instructions that she were not to go out of the house.
Oh, she did. Well, when she comes back, you tell her I went out. I'm not going to be ordered around by my own daughter as if I were a child of 3. Ridiculous. I can take care of myself. Open the car, Jenkins.
But Mr. Lane, the
danger my eye. I'm going straight to my own club. It's my own car with my own chauffeur. The club, Jenkins.
Yes, sir.
Jenkins, be careful. You turn that corner on 2 wheels. Remember, I have a weak heart. Drive carefully. Jenkins, did you hear me? Jenkins, what's the matter with you? Stop the car this instant. Jenkins, why, you're not Jenkins. Why, you're Peter Swift. I don't care who you are. Stop this car. Let me out. Let me out.
Couldn't cope by itself. Scared to death. Well, save me the trouble.
I wouldn't be too sure of that, Peter Swift.
What's that?
Boss Lane is unharmed. He's only fainted. He has a weak heart.
Who's that? Where are you?
Don't tell me you didn't know you had the shadow as a passenger, too, Peter.
Shadow?
Yes, the shadow.
What are you going to do?
I think you'd better stop the car, Peter, and then I'll see that the proper authorities get you again. And this time there will be no Dr. Drag.
Yeah. This time they don't get me.
No?
Shadow. I'm driving this car. And you don't dare touch me if you do.
And when they get you, Peter, they'll take you up on that little platform and blindfold you. And they'll put the noose around your neck. It'll be hard for them to find you. Your driving is positively reckless, Peter. I think the emergency brake is indicated.
Did you see that crash?
That truck inside there.
That car's a total wreck. We had that 3 head on.
Yes, you did there.
Let me in. I'm a doctor.
How about it, Doc?
The old man in the back is all right. Just his face. Shock from it.
Any other?
Well, I'm afraid the shock is not for broken neck. No. This is funny.
What's that, Doc?
The sofa has a metal brace on his neck now. He must have broken it once before.
Well, there he is. Peter Swift. The only
only guy that ever died twice.
Yeah, we're giving him a swell funeral, all right. I bet there's guys from every mob in town, right in this room.
Only look natural.
Way so natural.
And cast your lamps on the reed.
Yeah, Peter likes flowers. They used to let him mow the grass and sing.
Who sent this little bunch of funny blue flowers?
Huh? Oh, them is forget-me-nots. Ain't there no card?
I guess there is at that. My gosh. Look here.
What does it say?
The shadow.
Ladies and gentlemen, before today's thrilling episode in the life of the Shadow comes to a close, we have an announcement that I'm sure will be of interest to everybody. Beginning today, Mr. John Barclay, our blue coal heating expert, will give a series of practical talks on the subject of automatic heating. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Barclay.
Good evening, friends. Today, more than ever before, we realize the need for absolutely uniform heat in order to enjoy really healthful living conditions. However, many people are under the impression that it is necessary to spend huge sums of money and install elaborate equipment in order to have this uniform heat. In other years, that was true. But today, you can have uniform heat 24 hours a day for as little as $18.95. That's the price of a blue coal automatic heat regulator.
Is this a simple device which can be installed on any kind of heating equipment?
Oh, yes. It works equally well. Hot air, hot water, steam or vapor heating plants, even on space heaters, which you probably know of as parlor stoves. Not only is the blue coal heat regulator so inexpensive that anyone can afford one, but its operation is simplicity itself. It consists of a thermostat located right upstairs, where it's always handy, or you can have it in your living room, your dining room, your kitchen, anywhere at all. This thermostat is then installed to connected to a silent motor located in the basement near the furnace.
Is it easy to install?
Why, yes. Yes, the installation of the blue coal heat regulator is such a simple matter that it requires but an hour or two. In fact, you don't even have to let the fire in your furnace go out. And the charge for installation is very low, averaging around $5. Why not drop in to see your nearest blue coal dealer and let him tell you more about this remarkable new heat regulator? You'll find he's the outstanding heating authority in your community. And take advantage of his John Barclay trained serviceman, who is qualified to give you expert counsel on any heating problem at no charge whatever. I thank you.
The story you have just heard is copyrighted by the Shadow magazine. Any similarity to persons living or dead is purely coincidental.
Seed of crime bears bitter fruit. Crime does not pay. The shadow knows.
Hear all about the shadow. Next week, same station, same time, the shadow returns. His latest adventure, same time, same station. Extra, extra, don't miss it, extra.
Our cast tonight has included Dwight Weist, Margot Stevenson, Polly Bear, Jackson Beck, Arnold Moss, Sidney Sloan, Trudy Warner, Arthur Anderson, Dick Osgood, John Nanovic, organist Rosa Rio, and Terry and Ken Ross on sound effects. Is there another name I should mention? And of course, Carl Weber as John Barclay. This is your announcer, Ken Roberts, who joins with the cast in extending our appreciation to the creator of the shadow, Mr. Walter Gibson.
And now a radio crime drama that ran on CBS from February 27th, 1949 to August 1st, 1954. Produced and directed by Elliott Lewis, the opening theme of I'll Take Manhattan introduced Detective Danny Clover, played by Larry Thor, a hardened New York cop who worked homicide from Times Square to Columbus Circle, the gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world. We present to you Broadway's My Beat.
Broadway's My Beat. From Times Square to Columbus Circle. The gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world.
Broadway's My Beat, with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover.
Broadway, where a pale and hungry girl walks like a queen because Broadway's a dream street. Where a fat man stands with begging eyes because he knows his dreams will never come true. It's a cry or a laugh, but nothing in between. Either way, it's My Beat. On special detail, there are no special hours. Don was at the window of my office at police headquarters when I scribbled my last report. An out-of-town school teacher was trying to beat the heat by using Columbus Circle for a burlesque runway. I buried that one behind a convenient fan, bid the boys a fond bonjour, and started home out the side entrance. I didn't make it. All I saw of sunrise was in an alley, the alley reserved for police ambulances coming home to the morgue. A voice stopped me and invited me in.
Danny, come here.
The man who stood silhouetted in the slice of light was a man who called himself K-Peck, a freelance photographer who hung around headquarters. You never knew he was there, but he always was.
The quality of dawn, Danny. Who can hold it? Who can imprison it? It is the eternal enigma for a photographer.
Why don't you go home then, K-Peck? What keeps you here?
That ambulance, perhaps.
Huh?
You see, creative men like me have a devotion. It is always the same. Perfection. Everything neat and perfection.
Oh, so that's what it is.
Watch that stretcher, Joe.
Yeah, okay. Hiya, Danny.
Hi, what do you got, boys?
Suicide. Guy jumped in front of an 8th Avenue subway.
I didn't know anything about it.
Well, not your department, Danny. See you later.
See what I mean, Danny? Neat and perfection. The man they're bringing in, for instance.
What's neat about him?
That was Jimmy Dorn, a Cinderella man who only the other day won $17,000 on the Irish sweepstakes.
What?
You must have read about him, how no newspaper, no newsreel could get a picture of him.
Yeah, I remember. He was shy. I liked him for that.
But I have a picture of him.
Oh? Dead or alive?
Alive, of course. Dead is for any hack with a brownie.
Got it with you? Mind if I see it?
No harm. I've already sold it to the news. Here, look at it, Danny. Note the delicate play of light and shadow, the exquisite...
This guy looks happy. I never seen anybody look that happy.
Because K-Peck took it at the moment of Jimmy Dorn's greatest joy, the supreme ecstasy of winning $17,000.
Yeah, to each his own. How did you get it when no one else could?
The famous K-Peck tact. It cost me $50 to arrange it. But the news paid me twice that.
That much, huh?
When Mr. Dorn committed suicide, it raised the price. You see, in the newspaper game, one must know.
Excuse me, K-Peck. Danny Clover, give me the dope on a suicide name of Jimmy Dorn. Yeah, I know it's not my department. I'm nosy. Yeah. Lily Dorn, 3rd Avenue. Okay, that's enough.
You have to look, Danny. You smell something, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. Be with you in a second, K-Peck. Hello, Benny. Danny Clover. That Jimmy Dorn suicide. Tell the chief I'm going to look into it. Yeah, Benny, I know, but it bothers me. Sure, I'll grab some sleep on the subway.
I asked you, Danny, you smell something, maybe?
Why should a guy let a subway train make his wife a widow with $17,000 orphan dollars? Why should all that sudden dough make him want to commit suicide?
Is it such a secret why men destroy themselves?
Yeah, to me. It's not neat, K-Peck. It just ain't neat. Third Avenue is a tenement 5 stories high and miles long. At 9 o'clock in the morning, it was going full blast. The elevated, housewives hunched in open windows, kids flipping pennies against the wall, and every 7 minutes it screamed. Somewhere between Sam Chu's hand laundry, special attention Page's pleated dress shirts, and the Blue Star delicatessen, cream soda and hot pastrami 2 bits, somewhere between there was a doorbell. I pushed it.
Yeah? What do you want?
My name's Danny Clover. I want to see Mrs. Dorn.
Suddenly, everybody wants to see Mrs. Dorn. Suddenly, I'm a popular lady. Suddenly,
I'm from the police, Mrs. Dorn.
You guys don't quit, do you? All right. Come on in. You want to know how it is to win $17,000? Is that what you want to know?
Look, Mrs. Dorn, I'm sorry about your husband.
Oh, sure. You can feel any way you like.
Tell me about your husband.
Jimmy?
Yeah.
I'll tell you about him. Jimmy didn't like people. He got afraid of them once, and he never got over it.
Why?
You know, I don't know. He was always running, and I ran with him. I was his wife, Mr. Clover. I didn't need to know any more than that.
But maybe you understood why he refused to see any reporters when he won all that money.
Listen, my husband was a frightened little man who won a sweepstakes. It bought him an obituary.
That doesn't tell me much. This room tells me more.
This rat hole. This room says that, doesn't it? Rat hole.
I didn't say that, Mrs. Dorn. I'm talking about that circus poster on the wall. Patsy Mack presents the 3 whirling tornadoes. Was your husband a whirling tornado?
You can go now, policeman. You said your questions. Now go.
Brody, please. Why didn't you stay in that room? They can't do anything for us now.
Come right on in, mister. Who are you?
I'm a clever boy. I don't win sweepstakes, but I stay alive.
Yeah, real clever. Now, what about this circus poster?
It covers the cracks in the plaster.
3 whirling tornadoes. 3 men riding motorcycles in a barrel. Mrs. Dorn, for a frightened man, your husband made a dangerous dollar.
Look, I told you all I know. Maybe you ought to get out of here.
Why should a poster come between us, Mrs. Dorn? We were getting along fine.
You heard the lady, copper. She's saying she's finished talking.
That's right, Mrs. Dorn?
Yes.
What did you say?
I said that's right.
Maybe I should have let it alone, got some sleep. But it kept eating at me. When I found out Jimmy Dorn rode a motorcycle in a barrel, everybody got unhappy. I don't like it when it gets unhappy. So I took a walk and found myself on Broadway in front of a tired building that has a lot of names. You take your choice. You walk up 4 flights and you get 4 offers. You're perfect for a fairy tale ballet that's opening in Newark. You make a stunning cover in a muscle magazine. Can you play first trumpet with a Bop Hawaiian outfit? If you got a song that's trying to be published, call it a slight fee, of course. And on the 5th floor, you find what you were looking for. The office of Patsy Mack, promoter, entrepreneur, and a dollar guy.
Well, it isn't Danny Clover.
Hi, Patsy.
You still pounding the stem, Danny? Aren't you ever going to be promoted?
Promotion means a desk job away from Broadway. Who wants that?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Can I give you something?
Yeah, grape juice would be keen.
I've got 3 fingers left of a bottle given me by a bearded lady who was enamored of my social standing. It'll bring a smile to your lips.
You drink it, Patsy, and thank her for me, Patsy. Send her a dozen blue roses, or is it red roses for a bearded lady?
Yeah, I'll do that. She'll appreciate it. She loves delicacy.
Don't they all? Patsy, tell me a story.
Okay. Now, let me see. Oh, have you heard the one about...
Yeah, tell me the one about the 3 whirling tornadoes.
The 3 tornadoes? What fond corner of your memory clutched onto them?
Tell me about them.
Well, I don't remember much about them, Danny. They've been out of the business a long time. The 3 tornadoes, huh? Well, there were 3 of them.
Thanks. There was no one else connected with them.
Oh, no. The tornadoes ran their own carny. Toured the villages and the metropolises.
Patsy, you got a reputation for remembering every act that ever played a circus or carnival. What were their names?
Oh, you put me on my mettle, boy. Now, let me see. There was Jimmy Dorn. Yeah, I think. Oh, could he be the one who ended up under a subway this morning?
I'll look into it. Who were the others, Patsy?
Well, there was a fellow named, let's see now, a Russian kind of a name, Danilov. Yeah, that's it, Joe Danilov.
Joe Danilov. And the third?
Oh, now you're pressing me, boy. The third was a man named, let me see, Brady? No. That wasn't it.
Could it have been Brody?
Brody, that's it. Well, how'd you know, Danny?
Brady, it's a short jump. Now try real hard. You're sure there was no one else connected with the act?
Well, now come to think of it, there was another guy.
Yeah?
He backed the show, I think. His name doesn't register, Danny.
This guy whose name doesn't register. Was it you?
Oh, are you kidding? I had nothing to do with the tornado.
Well, thanks a lot. You're a gentleman and a scholar, Patsy. And a liar. I left Patsy there waving his jaw at nothing, which was about what I had. Nothing. An ex-carnival performer wins $17,000 and dies under the wheels of a subway train. They say he jumped. Why should he do a fatal thing like that? Why should Patsy lie to me? A one-sheet poster said, Patsy Mack presents the 3 whirling tornadoes. Patsy had just told me he had nothing to do with the tornadoes. Well, there's another guy I know, in another place I know. His name's Pop, and he takes care of the file room of a magazine. Magazine that tells a lot about people, especially if the people are show people. The file room was deserted except for Pop.
What you doing down here, Danny?
Wrangling, Pop. Oh, you don't have to hide that comic book from me.
My wife packs it with my lunch, Dan. Now, you take this one.
Yeah.
Sandra, the Jungle Queen. Ain't she a honey? Makes a man with me.
Yeah, she's keen. What are you holding on a guy named Joe Danilov, Pop?
Take a second to find out. How was that name again?
Danilov, Pop. D for doll, A for avenue, N for...
Avenue N?
Yeah, avenue N, Pop.
Yeah, got it. Only, you didn't spell it right, Denny.
You didn't let me finish.
Didn't need to. Here's the file on Joe Danilov, all right. Only it's D for dead.
Let me see that. Joe Danilov, ex-carnival performer, a member of the 3 tornadoes, was found dead today at the bottom of an elevator shaft. Danilov left no survivors, his wife having died a year ago. Hey, how about this?
How about what?
Listen, a week before his death, Danilov came out of obscurity to win a cross-country motorcycle race with a purse of $1,000.
So he made funeral expenses. That's hot news, huh?
Last night, another man, a man named Jimmy Dorn, came out of obscurity to win a lot of money. He died, too. 2 whirling tornadoes all played out, one after another.
You know something, Danny?
What?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, sorry, Pop. I was playing with a jigsaw puzzle.
Well, you sit right down there and do just that. I'm going upstairs for some coffee. You want some? Coffee, Daddy. Want some?
Yeah, your coffee. Be nice, Pop.
I'll just be a few minutes. Don't let anybody kidnap Sandra, the Jungle.
Yeah. 2 whirling tornadoes. The third one named Brody. Maybe you'll blow away, too. Brody and the bitter widow Dawn. And Patsy Mack, the sweet guy who told lies. That's you, Pop? I never knew what it was that slugged me on the back of my head. It wasn't a comic book. And whoever did it wasn't Pop. Just before I hit the floor, I had a flash. It wasn't Sandra, the Jungle Queen, either.
You are listening to Broadway's My Beat with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover. A number of paying guests mysteriously disappear. 2 elderly spinsters who entertain them have a suspiciously rising bank account. And it's a murder farm story for Casey, crime photographer, to explore on CBS Tonight. Also on CBS Tonight, you'll hear the network's famous series, Escape, in place of Suspense, while Suspense is on summer leave of absence. Tonight's opener on Escape will be John Russell's famous story, The Fourth Man, a tale of a Pacific Islander adrift on a raft with 3 murderous companions. Be sure to hear Murder Farm on Crime Photographer and The Fourth Man on Escape tonight. They come to you on most of these same CBS stations. And now back to Broadway's My Beat.
You win a lot of money or die violently or do both, and Broadway will know all about you. You get your name and your picture in the morning editions. Then Broadway won't care anymore. But I care. Maybe it's because I've got a cop's curious mind, but it bothered me why Jimmy Dorn died. So I made it my personal business. And so far, business was rotten. I was on my back when Pop brought me to. It took a little longer to find out that the press clippings I was looking at weren't around. That's a new one. Roll for some old press clippings. This needed thinking. To think, a cop's got to eat. To eat, there's a classy sidewalk cafe on the corner of Broadway and 47th where you stand up to a hot dog and a cup of coffee that dares you. I threw a lump of sugar at it when someone tapped me on the shoulder.
Hello, Danny. Mind if I join you?
Oh, K-Peg, not at all. Grab a napkin.
Danny, somehow you look unsymmetrical today. What happened to your head?
I had it done over.
Oh, you're detectives, always intruding yourselves into violence and danger. Who did it, Danny?
Person or persons unknown.
Oh, you should go home and get some rest.
Yeah, what about you, K-Peg? Don't you get any sleep either?
I am a vain man, Danny. I've been waiting for the noon edition of the news to come out. It has the picture I took of Jimmy Dorn. Look at it, Danny.
Yeah.
Is it not a magnificent reproduction?
Yeah, it's quite a picture. How'd you catch the expression?
For an artist like me, it is a matter of precise timing. But somehow, I feel the caption beneath this picture is not right.
What do you mean?
I feel the caption should not read suicide. It should read murder.
Oh? Makes you say that?
I have captured death in my pictures for a long time, Danny. This is the face of a man whom death was about to touch with murder, not with suicide.
You talk prettier, but you think like a cop.
The elements for murder are three, Danny. A widow with $17,000, perhaps a boyfriend, and... Wait a minute, Danny. Where are you going? You haven't touched your...
I've got to make a call.
So you can't eat first?
Who calls on a rich widow with onions in his breath? Hey, you up there. You at the window.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Mrs. Dorn, isn't she home?
You want somebody, mister?
Mrs. Dorn. I've been ringing her bell. Where is she?
Oh.
You know where Mrs. Dorn went? There's no light downstairs.
Her?
Yeah, her.
Oh, sure, she had a date for across the street.
What?
For across the street, mister. The Eagle Tavern. I saw her go in there with a guy.
The Eagle Tavern took up 40 front feet of sidewalk, and its insides were designed to take up thousands of man-hours of loneliness. Right now, there were only three lonely people. The bartender, Mrs. Dorn, and Brody. Mrs. Dorn and Brody were standing at the end of the bar trying real hard. I hated to do it, but I decided to ruin their evening for them.
You don't know when to quit, do you, Clover? Why do you keep coming around?
Like I was saying, Mrs. Dorn.
What are you drinking, Mac?
Nothing at all.
Yeah, you can nurse that a long time.
Mr. Clover, look. Please, we don't want any trouble. We got all the...
It's this way, Mrs. Dorn. A long time ago, a man named Joe Danilow fell down an elevator shaft and was killed. Seems like he was nobody until he won a motorcycle race. Then he got his name in the papers. Then he died. What does that do to you?
What should it do to her?
I'll try a refresher. Joe Danilow was a whirling tornado. He belonged in your husband's act, Mrs. Dorn. Try to react on that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You got your reaction, Clover. Now blow.
Mrs. Dorn, you know your husband just might have been murdered.
No.
Try it, Mrs. Dorn. Consider it.
You've got no manners at all. All you've got is a loose mouth.
Wait a minute, Brody. The man said somebody might have killed Jimmy. Do you think so, Brody?
This guy's trying to put poison in your brain, Lily. Don't listen to him.
You think I shouldn't, huh?
Why should you listen to you, Brody?
Go read a book, copper. Go read a book and find out why I should hang around a woman who's married to my best friend, Jimmy Dorn.
Maybe you're waiting for him to die.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah. I never thought of it before. Jimmy's dead, and that makes you number one boy to a lady who just inherited $17,000.
That'll teach you, Lily. That'll teach you not to talk like that.
Talking a woman's easy, Brody. This'll be a little...
Hey, what are you doing? Hey, you can't play in here.
Stop it!
I'm running a decent joint.
Stop it! Stop it!
Lily, I'm sorry. Don't cry, Lily. Please don't.
Talk to him, Brody. Tell him what he wants to know. Tell him what you never told me. What happened back there 10 years ago? Why were you and Jimmy always hiding? Tell him, Brody. Tell him.
Take off, copper. You've done your bit. Take off and feel filthy about the whole thing.
Sure, only you fascinate me, Brody. If you didn't shove Jimmy Dorn in front of a subway train, what keeps you alive? First Joe Danilow, then Jimmy. There's hardly a breeze left of the three whirling tornadoes. What's keeping you alive, Brody? Now there was a guy I just had to see. K-Pack. There was a chance he had taken more than one picture of Dorn. Maybe in the background I'd see a familiar face. Out in Sea Beach near Coney Island, I found the door with Capek's name on it.
Oh, it's you, Danny. Come in.
I didn't want to disturb you, Capek, but I wondered if you took any more pictures of Dorn besides the one that ran in the news.
Oh, I am not like other photographers, Danny, who take dozens of pictures to get one good one. I take only one, and it is always perfection.
So the one in the news is the only one?
Yes. It is important that there should be other ones?
It might have been. Well, it's quite a gallery you have on the wall.
Yes. Come look, Danny, come look. This one, Danny. This girl who looks like a tired angel on a lonesome street.
Yeah, nice.
And look, and this one, a derelict asleep in the gutter. It has the texture and the lighting of a Rembrandt, no?
Capek, a man of your talent could live in a penthouse with dancing. Why do you live here?
I get some of my best results here.
Yeah, everybody gets some. You must have got there fast for this picture.
Oh, that one, yes. Well, you know my deal with the police. The minute anything violent happens, I go out with you. I get a picture. You get a body.
Who was he?
That is a man who was once Joe Danilov.
Danilov, huh?
Yes. I took this picture just after he fell down the elevator shaft. The mood of finality was magnificent.
Very dramatic, Capek. Danilov was one of the 3 whirling tornadoes. Did you know that?
So? Well, to me, Danilov was simply a man who fell down into space and died. The picture captures the sensation, don't you think? The down-sweeping lines, the shadows like a dark caress, the broken form like some grotesque passion. Everything neat, everything.
I don't think Capek even saw me open the door and leave. It's a long subway ride and a transfer back to Broadway. Coming up from an underground of naked concrete into the blare of 49th Street, well, there's a magic to it. I didn't have time to enjoy it. I had a job to do and a chance to take. And the chance paid off. Patsy Mack was in his office working late.
Okay, Danny, so I lied to you about my connection with the tornadoes. And why not? First Joe Danilov, then Jimmy Dorn. Next, maybe me. Why should I take a chance?
They were accidents, the people say.
Oh, not just accidents. Danny, not that kind.
Tell me, Patsy, why do you think you'll be next?
I don't know. Just looks like everybody connected with the tornadoes is written down in a little black book.
Tell me more, Patsy.
This time I'm leveling, Danny. Once I managed the tornadoes, but I dropped them like they were a basket of snakes.
Why? What did they do?
Remember, I told you there was another guy, their backer?
Yeah.
Well, he got sick. He went to a sanitarium. While he was there, the tornadoes robbed him of everything he ever had.
All 3 of them did that? Huh?
Yes. Danilov, Brody, and Jimmy Dorn.
Danilov and Dorn are gone. That leaves only Brody, plus the widow Dorn and $17,000. Were you ever in a sanitarium, Patsy?
No. But they might put me away for slugging a cop. Oh, what do you want me to do, Danny? Cross my heart and hope to die?
Nothing easier than that. Use your phone for me.
Anything for a friend, Danny. But you are my friend, aren't you, Danny?
Call Billboard for me.
Oh, what?
Personal ad, Patsy. A personal ad on the front page where a guy in the show business will be sure to see it. You phrase it.
Phrase what?
Just this. Anyone connected with the act, the whirling tornadoes, meet at the entrance to Crescent Midway on Coney Island tomorrow night at 11. Have information to wind up affairs of the tornadoes. Phone that in, Patsy.
Because you say so, friend?
Because the police say so. And Patsy.
Yeah?
Sign your name to it. So I had it all set up. This case had murder in it, and I was pretty sure I knew who the murderer was. It was a matter of supplying a pigeon. That was me. The next day, 2 things happened. The ad was on the front page of Billboard, and rain came. When I hit Coney Island 10:30 that night, it was a wet desert. Neon reflections and stragglers and empty rides. The place was shadows on peeled paint and shadows on shadows. I had to spot the killer before he spotted me. So I picked one of the darkest places under the framework of the roller coaster and walked into it. I really walked into it.
Danny! There's such a night you picked to enjoy Coney Island. On a night like this, it is a dismal alley.
I'm in a dismal mood, Capek. And that gun you're holding doesn't make it any brighter.
It gives me the bravery to give orders to a policeman.
You shoot me, you'll be out of character, Capek. How are you going to make it look like an accident?
I have other ideas. First, I put my gun in my hand in my pocket. Now I say to you, let's go. Walk, Danny, walk.
You know, Capek, I think you loused up the job. A long time ago, you told me everything was neat and perfection. You forgot to tell me you put up the dough for the whirling tornadoes before you went to the sanitarium. So you killed Danilov and Dorn. But Brody gets away, huh?
Brody in time, policeman. But first you and I take a ride on a roller coaster.
Yeah. I was wondering how you'd manage it.
Neat and perfection, Danny. Now get on. I'll pay for the tickets when the ride is over. In here, Danny. You get in the first car. I'll sit in the car behind you.
How you going to work this, Capek? You going to slug me and heave me over? Like I said, you can't shoot me. Then it wouldn't look like an accident.
In a few seconds, when we get to the top, you will see. And now keep your hands to your sides, Danny. That's better.
Going to get a picture of this one, too, Capek?
When we get to the top, you will see.
The top was 2 seconds away.
Now, Danny, stand up. Stand up.
I stood up. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw him rise,
See
too.
how I'm
Take the
making
gun out of
look
his
like
pocket,
an
its
accident,
barrel in
Danny?
his fist. His arm came up in a wide arc, and that was the break I was waiting for. His body arched forward to strike. I twisted, grabbed his hand and elbow, and whew!
Let go of me, Danny!
How long can a roller coaster ride last? Long enough. Long enough to piece together the jagged edges of some frightened lives. Danilov and Dorn murdered. Murdered because they'd crossed a twisted man named Capek. Brody and Patsy Mack hugging the shadows because they were afraid of Capek's revenge. And Lily Dorn with a handful of dust and dollars.
You pay for the ride here, mister. Hey, you didn't take that ride all by yourself.
Yeah. A little while later, an ambulance came and picked up the dead, broken body of Capek. They took a picture of him, too. I caught a ride back to Broadway in a prowl car. It stretches out in front of you, this street called Broadway, like a midway to some cruel and fantastic circus. And you're the performer. You can walk the high wire or play it safe in a cage. Me? I guess my dodge is the wire. The gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world. Broadway. My beat. Broadway's My Beat, with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover, is produced and directed by Gordon T. Hughes, with script by Morton Fine and David Friedkin. Musical direction is by Lud Gluskin. Be sure to join us again next week, same time, same station, for Broadway's My Beat. In just a few minutes on most of these same CBS stations, you'll be hearing the familiar strains of Someday I'll Find You. And the action, as you know, starts with Mr. Keene, the famed tracer of lost persons. A top-rating detective throughout radio's fall, winter, and spring seasons, Mr. Keene will be on hand all summer. So don't miss one of his great cases these Thursday nights on CBS. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
You're listening to HOJO Radio. Stay tuned.
The FBI in Peace and War, ordinarily heard at this time throughout the year, is taking its usual summer vacation and will return to CBS 5 weeks from tonight on September 1st.
Broadway's My Beat. From Times Square to Columbus Circle, the gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world.
Broadway's My Beat, with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover.
Broadway. It's an enchanted island or a prison, a crazy, happy dance, or a funeral march in blues time. It's a sorcerer's palace with golden mirrors and jeweled fountains, or it's a wailing wall corroded with pain. Call it anything you want. It's My Beat. One of the ways to get on My Beat is to infiltrate through the grim lines of people trying to buy tickets to South Pacific. Those people are going to mutiny someday. It was about 9 in the morning, and a good thing happened to me. The good thing was a kid named Paul Thomas. A sweet kid, a gentle kid. A kid who'd wrapped himself in iron to stall off the pain so many people handed to him for free.
Mr. Clover, could I talk to you for a minute?
Sure, Paul. Sure. Any place, any time.
How about in the lobby here?
Okay, lobby it is. Well, I'm sure glad to see you, Paul. It's been a long time.
Not so long, Mr. Clover. It's only 5-6 months since you got me that job. Maybe 7 months since you caught me breaking into a store.
Who remembers what happened 7 months ago? How's the job, Paul? How's it working out?
Mr. Arcane's been treating me fine. He's even had me bonded so I could deliver all that jewelry and stuff.
I bet your folks are proud.
Yeah, they're real proud, Mr. Clover.
I've been meaning to get up to Harlem to visit them. Your mother's a fine woman, Paul. Give her my best.
I'll do that, Mr. Clover. She keeps asking about you.
Paul, it's a good thing to see you the way you are.
I'm in trouble, Mr. Clover. I think I'm in big trouble.
Oh? You want to tell me about it here? We could go someplace and get a quiet cup of coffee.
I better tell you about it fast, Mr. Clover. A couple of days ago, they came...
Danny Clover, how's Broadway's grabber boy? How's the finest of the finest,
Oh, hi, Kirk.
Am I interrupting something, Danny? The boy won't mind being interrupted, will you, boy?
Maybe I mind, Kirk.
Oh, no offense, Danny. Come on, ask me how I am. Ask me how I've been doing.
How are you? How you been doing?
Oh, great. Very, very great, Danny. Yes, sir. Don't I rate an introduction to the boy, Danny?
Paul, this is Jerry Kirk, a private investigator. Paul Thomas, Jerry Kirk.
Hi, Mr. Kirk.
Danny, you don't keep up. A smart detective like you should keep up. I'm not a private eye anymore.
No? Well, so long, Kirk. See you around.
No, I'm not a private eye anymore. I'm in the plush, Danny. Plush office, plush stipend, furnished by Acme Insurance Company. I investigate insurance losses for them. Oh, it's a lot easier than breaking down doors to hall apartments.
But not so much fun, huh, Kirk?
More, Danny, more. It even gives me the price of a couple of tickets to South Pacific here. But how about you, Danny? You still hitting the triple features in the grind houses, Danny?
Goodbye, Kirk.
Yeah, it's been swell seeing you, Danny.
I'm sorry about him, Paul. Now, tell me what's on your mind.
I can, Mr. Clover. I got to get to work. I'm late.
Paul, come back here. That's how the day began, with the kid starting to tell me of big trouble and then running away. It was about 5 when Paul's big trouble started to catch up with me. A patrolman leaned out of a squad car and handed me a slip of paper. J. Arcarian, the paper said. It said the Paramount Building, and at the bottom it said urgent. I'd been there before. J. Arcarian, lapidary and dealer in precious gems, was on the 14th floor. You went through a door and passed the beam of an electric eye and waded through a carpet to a desk and an olive-skinned girl with tight black hair. You gave your name and you got nodded past another beam and some carved oriental wall hangings to a young man. Morning coat cut to hide the lines of his shoulder holster, and sneer cut to fit the scar that ran from his eye to the corner of his mouth. Then a chaperone hiked through another doorway. And there he was, J. Arcarian, impeccable in ascot, striped pants, and a Legion of Honor ribbon in his satin lapel. He had another thing, a guest.
I asked Mr. Jerry Kirk to be with us, Lieutenant Clover, because his interests lie in the same direction as ours.
Hiya, Kirk. What's all this about?
Mr. Arcarian will tell you, Danny.
Sit down, Lieutenant.
What do you want to see me about, Mr. Arcarian?
About the boy you asked me to hire. About Paul Thomas.
You know Paul Thomas, don't you, Danny?
What about Paul Thomas?
Mr. Arcarian is a polite man, Danny. He's trying to tell you the kid absconded with an awful lot of jewelry.
Please. This matter is very dolorous to me.
$100,000 worth, Danny.
How about letting Mr. Arcarian tell it his way, huh, Kirk?
He was just phrasing it neatly. $100,000, Danny.
Right now, you just listen, Kirk. What did Paul Thomas do, Mr. Arcarian?
He failed to deliver a consignment. Failed to let me know the reason why. He has been gone since this morning. Disappeared.
Like a puff of smoke, huh, Mr. Actarian? That's what you said?
They assign a bright eye like you to this, Kirk?
Like me, Danny.
Mr. Jerry Kirk is from the insurance company. In a matter like this, one thinks of insurance.
In a case like this, one also thinks of how maybe Paul got slugged. One also thinks he could have been robbed, Mr. Actarian. Paul Thomas turns up in an alley, Kirk. Slugged. A bet?
Yeah, sure. I know human nature, Danny. He's gone a long way with those rocks. Absconded. He's stolen.
In a matter like this, the amount is not a pittance, Lieutenant. $100,000 worth of first water gems, your cases, settings.
Got a list of what's missing?
Right here. You see? It makes not an inconsiderable...
Yes, not inconsiderable.
It is very dolorous, Lieutenant. You'll get them back?
Dolorous means it can make you cry. But Actarian's dolorous was different from mine. His was $100,000 he'd lost. Mine was a boy named Paul Thomas that maybe I'd lost. But it was still only a maybe. I had two things to do. Turn the list of missing jewels into headquarters, which I did, then call it Paul's home in Harlem. Harlem is a guilt and a scar and a wound. And the wound is a tenement lighted by kerosene lamps. A tenement with barred windows through which you can watch the moonlight darting out on the backs of hungry rats. And Harlem is a place of quiet laughter that stops when it sees you walking up the stairs to the one room in which Paul's family of 5 lived.
Yes? Oh, it's Mr. Clover.
Hi, Miss Thomas.
I hardly expected to. Please forgive the way I look.
Oh, you look fine, Mrs. Thomas. Fine. May I come in?
Why, of course. Of course. The children are outside playing.
It's just as well, Mrs. Thomas. I want to talk to you.
Please sit down, Mr. Clover.
Sure.
Is it about Paul?
Why did you see him last, Mrs. Thomas?
This morning. He stopped by on his way to work. Is there anything...
He doesn't live here anymore?
No, Mr. Clover. Paul's a man now, and he needs a place of his own.
Where is it, Mrs. Thomas?
Is my boy in trouble, Mr. Clover?
Well, we don't know. I don't think so, but I have to be sure. Where's his place, Mrs. Thomas?
It's a rooming house on 137th Street, 26 East. It's clean. You can actually see the sun. Paul couldn't do anything wrong. Not anymore, Mr. Clover. Paul's good. He's good.
He hasn't been by here tonight.
No, but that doesn't mean anything. Lots of times he doesn't come by at night, but he'll be here in the morning. He's always here for breakfast in the morning.
Well, I think I'll run over to that address you gave me, Mrs. Thomas. I'm sorry I can't stay and visit with you.
You'll let me know about my boy, Mr. Clover. Whatever way it is, you let me know.
It'll be all right, Mrs. Thomas. It has to be all right. Outside, it was 1 block north and 2 to my left of the subway station at 125th and Lenox. In those 3 blocks, you could feel the breeze from the East River fighting a losing battle with the heat. But it wasn't the heat that stopped me. It was Squad Car 15, Patrolman Florio at the controls. Not bad, Florio. 3-point landing.
Hi, Lieutenant. Come on, get in.
Thanks. You headed uptown?
Well, that depends, Lieutenant. Wherever you say.
Uptown?
You better call headquarters first. I've been cruising, looking for you. Headquarters said you were in Harlem.
Yeah, call him, Florio.
Sure. Patrol car 15 calling headquarters. Come in. Patrol car 15 calling headquarters.
Headquarters receiving patrol car 15. Go ahead, 15.
I take it, Danny.
Yeah. Danny Clover speaking.
Danny, Tartaglia speaking. About that Arcarian robbery. Guy named Jerry Kirk called you.
Yeah?
Said he wanted you there when he took Paul Thomas.
Oh, where's all this taking place?
137th Street, a condemned tenement, 3 houses beneath the northeast corner on Lenox. 10 o'clock, the guy said.
That's right now, Tartaglia. Thanks. Let's go, Florio. You heard the man.
Right.
Florio.
Yeah, Lieutenant?
You're only giving me a lift down the block. Turn off that siren, huh?
Hello, Danny. Glad you showed.
Headquarters said you had Paul. You got him, Kirk?
He's in that tenement, Danny.
But he materialized out of that puff of smoke? How do you know he's in there?
Look, Danny, a guy steals $100,000 worth of jewelry. It's hot. He can't get rid of it. So he makes a deal with the insurance company. The deal Paul made was for $15,000.
He got in touch with you?
Yeah, sure. He said meet him here. So I got in touch with you.
I'm double-crossing him, Danny. I called in the cops. You wouldn't want it any other way.
Yeah, let's go in. And Kirk, keep your gun in your pocket.
Danny, you know I seldom carry a gun, and tonight's one occasion when I don't.
Come on.
Hey, pretty dark. Lucky I brought a flash. Paul Thomas!
Let me handle it, Kirk. Paul, it's Danny Clover. Paul! Maybe he isn't here, Kirk.
He's here. That sound came from down in the basement.
Hey, Kirk, somebody's shooting downstairs and not at us.
Yes, and somebody's taking a powder, too.
Let's get him.
Don't you think it's time you got out your gun, Danny?
Yeah, it's all changed now. Hey, shine your light over there.
Where?
Back of the staircase.
Yeah. Hey, Danny. A body. Danny, look, he's got a gun.
Paul.
He's dead, Danny. Your boy's dead.
Why was he killed?
He was a bad boy, Danny. A bad boy with bad company, and the company just took a powder. How do you like your boy now, Danny?
You are listening to Broadway's My Beat with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover. Casey, crime photographer, finds an innocent-eyed young woman riding a murder-go-round tonight. As he joins her, his girlfriend, reporter Ann Williams, and Ethelbert, the magnificent bartender, caution him to go slow. For a merry ride with murder, join Casey and his pals tonight. And also be around for Second Class Passenger, another thrilling study in Escape. Crime Photographer and Escape are Thursday night features of most of these same CBS stations. Now, back to Broadway's My Beat.
One thing about Broadway, you can become a name overnight. All you have to do is have 3 current wives or ride 4 winners in a row. Or you can do it the way Paul Thomas did. Get caught up in a $100,000 jewel theft. Keep your mouth shut about it by being found dead in a Harlem tenement. Not that Paul Thomas would make much of a splash, but he would make a fast 30-second conversation piece over cheesecake and coffee. A cop uses up the night begging, pleading, grubbing for a break in a murder case. Then he goes home and begs for sleep. And in the morning he goes back to his office at headquarters and starts all over again. And that's where it broke. Come in. Come in.
Danny, open your eyes. I got a surprise for you.
You open them, I'm tired.
I got something on the Paul Thomas case.
What?
Yeah, see? You opened your eyes all by yourself. It's not hard, is it, Danny?
I could close yours just as easy. What do you got?
Well, one of the Aracarian jewels showed up at a pawn shop.
When?
10:30 last night.
10:30. That was after Paul's murder. How come you wait till now to give it to me?
Easy, Danny. Take it easy.
All right, but how come?
Larry of Larry's Pawn Shops Limited just phoned it in. Says he didn't get our list till 10 this morning.
Larry's, huh? Give me a squad car, Tartaglia. I'll pick it up front.
Okay. Danny.
Yeah?
I know what this means to you. Sorry I kidded.
Oh, that's okay, Sergeant. It's okay. But get that squad car, huh?
Danny, boy. Danny, you. This is quite an honor.
Hi, Larry.
Hi. I could have saved you the trip if you had just called me.
You needed the air. Look here, Larry. What do you got?
Danny, do you mind stepping in the back room? I'm trying to close a deal. Sometimes it embarrasses my clientele to see me consorting with a detective.
Ain't it a shame? Give it to me, Larry, and quick.
Oh, Danny, this isn't like you.
You want me to show you what I can really be like?
Okay, Danny. Okay, I'll get it for you. Think it over, mister. I'll be right with you. Here it is, Danny. Here, you see? This diamond ring matches up exactly with the one on the Arcarian issue boy sent. If I say so myself, it's a beauty.
Yeah, but who pawned it?
It's on the ticket. A girl named Ellen West lives at this address on 115th Street. At least that's the name of the address she gave me.
You know where to send it. Send the ring.
It hurts me to part with it. Say, isn't it polite the way I cooperate with you boys, Danny? You'll remember it, won't you?
Sure. By the way, what did you give the girl for the ring?
It's worth $2,000. I gave her $600.
Can't hear you, Larry. How much?
$600.
Still can't hear.
It was worth $2,000. I gave her $600. Oh, Danny, I could kill you. Hey, mister, you didn't hear what I said. I was just kidding. Pay no attention. I didn't mean it. I'm ready to offer you a little more.
The girl whose name might be Ellen West lived in a street that might have been anywhere. Could have been a market street in the slums of Madrid or Rome or Athens or New Orleans. It could have been anywhere. But right now it was under the bridge of the New York, New Haven, and Hartford Railroad. Right now it was a street where Paul's murderer might be waiting in a dark room behind a locked door, waiting for a knock that had to come.
Yes? Who is it?
The police. Open up.
Please. Why you come here? I haven't done anything.
Are you Ellen West?
That's right. That's my name. How you know my name? I don't know you.
I'm Danny Clover, Ellen. Broadway Special Detail. I'd like to ask you some questions.
Mr. Danny Clover.
Huh?
Paul told me a lot about you. Please come in, Mr. Clover.
Thanks. You knew Paul Thomas?
I knew him. I knew him better than anybody. We were going to be married.
How old are you? 16 now?
18. Going on 19. That's not too young to get married, Mr. Clover. I mean, it wouldn't have been.
Ellen, you pawned a ring yesterday. Where'd you get it? Did Paul give it to you?
Where would Paul get a ring like that, Mr. Clover?
Where'd you get it, Ellen?
Came in the mail.
Oh, you have the package it came in?
I threw it away, Mr. Clover. I threw it away. Because I didn't want to know where to send it back.
Maybe you should have given it to the police.
Maybe I should have done what I did. I got $600 for that ring, Mr. Clover. With $600, two people like Paul and me could get married.
Did you tell Paul about the ring?
I didn't see Paul yesterday, Mr. Clover. I didn't see him to tell him about the ring or anything. I've got so much to tell him.
Paul's mother said he had a room of his own. Did you ever see it?
I saw it. I met his roommate, Joe Kendall.
His roommate?
Well, not exactly. You see, Mr. Clover, where Paul lived, that room of his own, that was just a place where he could sleep for 8 hours. Joe Kendall had it for the other 8 hours. They do that a lot up here.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's all, Ellen. Just one thing. You won't go away.
Where would I go, Mr. Clover? Mr. Clover?
Yes, Ellen.
Here's the $600. I got no use for it now.
The hotbed address of Paul's roommate, Joe Kendall, didn't pan out. But a suddenly forgetful landlord suddenly regained his memory when he put on a pair of wire-rimmed glasses and examined my police badge. His cooperation from that instant was a thing of joy. Joe Kendall was working right now, mister. Joe Kendall worked in the change booth in the subway station at 59th Street.
Want some change, mister?
No, sir. Information.
What kind of information?
Your name's Joe Kendall?
That all depends on what connection the name's being used.
In connection with the police.
Now, show me.
Try this.
Yeah, that badge says you're the police. Says my name's Joe Kendall. What can I do for you, Lieutenant?
About Paul Thomas, Joe.
Read about him in the papers this morning. I'm sorry about Paul.
How sorry?
Lieutenant? Oh, wait a minute. Here you are, lady. 2 dimes and a nickel. Lieutenant, it's this way.
Maybe I asked you a bad question, Joe.
Not at all. I'm sorry about Paul, Lieutenant. as sorry as I am for any man who died the way Paul did.
What about Paul? What did he tell you about himself?
Well, things like I'm tired, Joe. That's what he used to say to me. When he woke me up because it was his turn to sleep, he'd tell me things like that.
That's all?
Other things, too, Lieutenant, but that was the general idea.
Something else, Joe. That ring on your finger. Where'd you get it?
Are you going to believe me? Okay, Lieutenant. I'll tell you anyhow. I got it in the mail yesterday.
You should have let the police know.
I should have, but I didn't. Maybe I was going to. Maybe I was going to pawn it. I don't know.
You'd better let me have it.
Well, sure. Here. Take it. Lieutenant, I'm in trouble now, huh?
I guess right now you come under a couple of laws in the penal code, Joe, but which one escapes me? Just don't run away.
I'll be here, Lieutenant. Here or in Harlem, one place or the other.
It was a decision I had to make about the girl Ellen West and about Joe Kendall, and it was a decision I made. They turned up with a part of the missing jewelry and a strange story how they got it, and I didn't book them. I didn't put a tail on them. If they told the truth, it gelled an idea that was shaping itself. If they'd lied, I'd know it before the day was over. Back at headquarters, I made out my report that way and turned it in. Then there was nothing to do but trade stares with Sergeant Tartaglia and wait for the report from the technical boys.
Oh, I don't know, Danny. I don't know. I'm not sure you did the right thing. Those two might have been holding back.
Technical lab reports, Lieutenant. Ballistics, chemical, prints. All of them.
Thanks.
Okay, Lieutenant.
Ballistics, nothing. Well, I figured there'd be nothing there. Hey. So long, Tartaglia.
Hey, Danny, where you going?
Take a look at those reports. They'll make your red face even redder. Those photoelectric eyes wink even at you, huh, Eric Carrion?
They make no distinction, Lieutenant, between friend or enemy. They're ever alert, ever suspicious.
Yeah. You kept me waiting a long time, Eric Carrion.
A jeweler has many things to take care of, Lieutenant. Sometimes you must keep even the police waiting. But you're not lonely. Did not Monsieur Artaud amuse you?
Oh, so that's his name. No, your flunky Artaud didn't amuse me. He's so silent, so sinister, is that the word?
It's a good word for Artaud.
Tell me, Artaud, that shoulder holster you wear under your morning coat, how do you avoid a bulge? You must have a good tailor. I wish I had a tailor like that.
I will send you the name of Artaud's tailor, Lieutenant. That all you wanted?
That's just part of it. I'd like to have a look at your vaults.
You wish to buy some jewelry wholesale?
No. I'd just like to find some lost jewelry. Stolen, it says on this list. Stolen from a Mr. Eric Carrion. That's why I'd like to have a look at your vaults.
You're insane. But I will humor you. But first, a trifle. You have a warrant, Lieutenant?
Now, what do you know about that? I clean forgot to get myself a warrant. But as you say, it's a trifle. Now, how about the vaults?
I do not think so, Lieutenant. In your country, I've learned to do everything. Comme il faut.
How?
Comme il faut. Translation, as it should be.
Thanks. I like to learn new words.
A warrant would be as it should be.
Then I'll just have to get the vault open myself.
Artaud!
Tell your flunky to take his hands off me.
Artaud is a very difficult man to tell things to. Not only does he not talk often he does not listen.
Tell him to take his hands off me.
Perhaps you could persuade him yourself, Lieutenant.
Yeah, perhaps I could. Oh, that's who. I went and spoiled your creases.
You release me,
Well, Kirk, the eminent investigator, today on occasion for carrying a gun. You didn't have to shoot Eric Carrion.
I did, Danny. To save you from getting knocked off, I had to do just that.
Save me? What are you talking about?
Well, look at him. Look at Eric Carrion's hand. He was just getting ready to pull a Luger.
Yeah. Okay, Kirk, this wraps it up. Let me have your gun.
What for?
Ballistics will want it to check it against the slugs in the body.
But you saw me shoot him, Danny.
The gun, Kirk.
Are you off your rocker, Danny?
The gun.
I've got a permit for this gun.
Oh, ow. Yeah. Thanks for the gun.
Oh, sure. Sure, Danny, now that I know you were sincere about wanting it. Well, like you said, this wraps it up. You figured it a little ahead of me, that's all.
Tell me how.
Oh, easy. Eric Carrion never parts with the jewels and reports them stolen for insurance money.
Yeah, true. Tell me, Kirk, how do you figure Paul Thomas figures?
Also simple.
Arakarian tells the kid to make it look like the kid ran away. Well, maybe Arakarian wanted to do it another way, and the kid balked.
Yeah, that's right, Kirk. Paul came to me yesterday and started to tell me he was in trouble. It adds up, huh?
It adds up neat.
You know what else? 2 of the gems showed up with 2 of Paul's friends. Arakarian mailed them to throw off suspicion.
Clever, real clever.
Yeah, but here's the twist. The gun Paul was holding in that tenement cellar had no fingerprints on it.
Huh?
He was dead before he went in that tenement, Kirk. Dead men leave no prints. Paul Thomas was dead before I saw you, Kirk.
Hey, that is a twist.
That scene in the condemned tenement, you and Arakarian staged it. That's why I want your gun, to check it against the slugs they took from Paul's body.
You're crazy, Danny.
Listen, how else I'm crazy. You killed Paul. You propositioned him, and he'd have none of it, so you killed him. And you killed Arakarian so he wouldn't implicate you.
You stink, copper. You stink, but you won't take me.
I've been waiting for you to do that, Kirk. Waiting.
Ow!
That's for Paul. For Paul. For Paul. What stopped me was something gentle. A tap on the shoulder, that was all. But it stopped me. Man from headquarters looked down at me, and his tap was gentle. He said that was enough. I quit, but I didn't believe him. He said Kirk was something the law had to take care of. Then I had to believe him, because I'm a cop. In the mid-afternoon heat, Broadway is a desert littered with mirages of what might be men or women. You touch some and they vanish. You touch others and they snarl and slink away. It's real or it's phantom. It's Broadway, the gaudiest, the most violent, the lonesomest mile in the world. Broadway, my beat.
Broadway's My Beat, with Larry Thor as Detective Danny Clover, is produced and directed by Gordon T. Hughes, with script by Morton Fine and David Friedkin. Musical direction is by Lud Gluskin. Be sure to join us next week, same time, same station, for Broadway's My Beat. Mr. Keene, the famed tracer of lost persons, goes society tonight. Knowing Mr. Keene, you realize at once that it's not so much the question of which court, but which suspect. Mr. Keene's latest adventure, the Society Murder Case, will follow in just a few moments on most of these same CBS network stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Our next radio drama is about a fabulous freelance insurance investigator with the action-packed expense account. The show aired on CBS Radio from January 14th, 1949 to September 30th, 1962. There are 811 episodes in the 12-year run, and more than 720 still exist today. Each story started with a phone call from an insurance executive, and each story ended with an itemized expense account signed, Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, right here on HOJO Radio. Next.
The Columbia Broadcasting System presents a thrilling new adventure series starring Dick Powell. I'm an insurance investigator. My name is Johnny Dollar. What? You heard me, Johnny Dollar, and I can pad an expense account with the best of them. Yep, I'm a freelance insurance investigator, and I live in Hartford, Connecticut. At least that's where I pay rent. My work sees to it that I really live anywhere, except at home. If you're interested in buying me Christmas presents, I take a size 42 suit. Shirts 15 and a half collar, sleeve length 33. My hat size is 7 1/8, except when I wind up a successful case. Then it runs about 7 3/8. At insurance investigation, I'm just an expert at making out my expense account. I'm an absolute genius. Expense account. Submitted by investigator Johnny Dollar. To Home Office, East Coast Underwriters, Terminal Building, Hartford, Connecticut. Attention. Austin Farnsworth, General Manager. The following is an accounting of my expenditures in the investigation of Milford Brooks III for your company. Expense account item 1. Cab fare to your office in answer to your original call, 75 cents. Tip to driver, $1. Expense account item 2. Shoe shine, 25 cents. You'll remember I got my shoes scuffed when I unsuspectingly walked into your private office.
Milford! No, you must not, my boy. Wait, Hans. Dollar! Jump away from that window. Don't
you.
Jump.
No, you don't.
Let go of me. Let go of me.
No. There are better ways of making a big splash in life.
Get away, you...
Well, nice try, Sonny. Now pay attention to teacher. I didn't know I had it in me.
Oh, goodness gracious, Dollar. Did you have to hit him so hard? I hope you haven't killed him. He isn't too strong, you know.
Don't worry. There. Now, Mr. Farnsworth, would you mind telling me on whose head have I the dubious pleasure to be sitting?
That, sir, is Milford Brooks III. His policy with this company is in the amount of $2 million.
Wow.
Yes. And the boy seems bent on committing suicide. Dollar, I want you to stop him.
What do you want me to do? Threaten him with death?
Anything. The conditions of his policy are such that we would be forced to meet with a claim in the event of his suicide. Oh, I say, Dollar, sitting on his head that way, aren't you in danger of smothering the boy?
Smothering him doesn't worry me, but these crew haircuts don't make very comfortable cushions. I'll move down a little. Now, there. Okay. So far, I know this kid is insured for $2 million and that his policy pays off on suicide. What else?
1/2 hour ago, Milford Brooks walked into this office and changed the beneficiary in his policy. Then, sir, he proceeded to demand, not request, mind you, but demand a loan of $500,000.
Quite a touch.
When I explained to him that there were no provisions for a loan in his policy, he threatened suicide.
Which would cost you $2 million. So all we have to do is keep him alive, huh?
And he's managed to make that no small problem. His choice of a new beneficiary is downright frightening. One of the most notorious gamblers in the East. His name is Hatcher, Harold Hatcher.
Ouch.
Oh, do you know him?
Sure. That kid's been a post office pinup boy for a lot of years.
Well, that's the situation. I'm engaging you to protect Milford Brooks' future. Dollar, I want you to protect the boy. Give him something to live for. You know, an interest in life.
An interest in life? Well, let's see. I know here. This should help.
What's that you got there?
Well, it's what's commonly referred to in the more successful of bachelor circles as my little black book.
Oh.
Well, now, let's see. Ruby? No. Her favorite expression is drop dead. Bernadine? No. She'd be the new beneficiary by midnight.
Oh, dear.
Now, here. Here's the one, Butter. Say, Farnsworth, would you mind passing me that phone? The one with the long cord?
Oh, no.
Lie still, Buster. My little friend here is showing signs of life.
Here you are. Maybe you should let him breathe a bit more.
Don't worry. He'll be all right. Hello. Oh, hello. I want to call New York. Yeah. Hudson, 24292.
Dollar, you're not thinking of taking this boy to New York, are you?
Well, I'm going there myself. You want me to keep an eye on him, don't you? Now, don't fret, Farnsworth. All is not lost.
You do worry me, sitting on his chest that way.
Hello? Oh, Butter? This is Johnny. Yeah, I'll be in town tonight. I want to see you. And look, here's what I want you to do. Yes, it's all right to say over the telephone. Yeah, I want you to reserve a table at the hatchery in my name for 10 o'clock tonight. Will you do that? Okay. I'll see you at your apartment in a few hours. But, honey, I can't make it any earlier. I'm sitting up on a sick friend. Okay, goodbye.
I'm not sure that I agree with your methods.
Huh?
Ow! What's the matter? Did he hit you?
Hit me? He bit me. Expense account, item 3. Liquor, $18. Keeping Milford Brooks III peaceful seemed to be the immediate problem. And a bottle of rare old brandy seemed to be the immediate answer. I poured most of it into him, and by the time he started to tick again, he'd gone through the unusual process of going to sleep sober and waking up enchanted. I loaded him into my car, and we headed to New York. As we passed through New Haven, he opened one eye, looked up, saw the Yale Bowl, and gave 3 cheers for old Eli.
Ray, Ray, Ray.
Oh, old Yale would sure be proud of you. Why anybody would want to insure you for $2 million is more than I can figure.
My daddy loved me very much, and my mother loved me very much.
Now, that's nice.
And not only that, but I love somebody very much. And not only that, but I hate somebody very much.
That's interesting.
You know something? Next to one other guy, I hate you more than anybody else.
Oh, here, lover boy, it's the cocktail hour again. Time for your bottle. Rolling along the Merritt Parkway, I felt very much alone with my thoughts. And believe me, they weren't very pleasant company. The way it stacked up for me, Brooks had built up a fat gambling debt with Harold Hatcher and had been forced into making him his beneficiary. The suicide threat that he was holding over the insurance company was a little tougher to figure, unless he was trying to finance a trip for himself to get away from the man with a murder motive, Hatcher. My hungry little mind nibbled away on those unsavory morsels of food for thought all the way to Butter's apartment.
Hey, where are you taking me? I want to go to New York.
If you don't behave, Buster, I'll punch your ticket.
Johnny, darling, welcome to New York.
Well, that's the fastest trip I ever had.
Quiet.
Well, where did you find this?
In a box of Cracker Jack. Let us in, dear.
I don't know about you. Some men bring me flowers, some bring me candy. What do you bring me? A boiled owl and a Brooks Brothers suit.
Pleased to meet you.
Now, let's trot him into the bedroom, honey.
You'd look more at home in the bathtub. Let me pull down the cover.
All right. Now, come on, Buster. Lie down.
Charm.
That kid's liquor sure can hold him.
How long have you been playing nursemaid to this bottle baby?
Get behind that bar, sweet, and I'll tell you all about it.
Sure. Horrible examples don't seem to bother you, do they?
If you knew how that guy has been bothering me.
What did he do to you?
Well, let's just say he put the bite on me. Oh, gosh, the river sure does look pretty tonight.
Bourbon and soda?
Now, please, anything but brandy. I've been sniffing that second hand all the way from Hartford. Butter, see that big boat out there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I sure would like to be on it. With you, sailing off to faraway romantic places.
Get with it, darling. That's the 125th Street Ferry.
Oh.
Here's your drink. Come on now. Tell Butter all about it.
So, friend Bourbon and I proceeded to tell her all about it. It wasn't easy. Everything about her kept flagging down my train of thought. The longer she looked at me, the less I wanted of Milford Brooks III, and the more I wanted of beautiful Butter the first, and only. She was a sympathetic listener to my story until I gave her the answer to her first and only question.
And where do I fit into all this?
Well, baby, I thought you understood. My job is to give this poor misguided boy something to live for. That's you.
Well.
Now, honey, hold everything. Don't go getting your corn all popped. You misunderstand. I really mean it. I thought if he'd just got to look at you and realize that things like you exist, why, you'd make any man glad to be alive. Oh, come on now, Butter. Melt a little. I wouldn't let anything happen to you. You know that.
Did I hurt you?
Oh, no, I'm getting used to it. People have been taking pokes at me all day.
I'm sorry.
Ah, that's better.
You want some more bourbon?
I want some more you.
Well, help yourself.
Honey, it's getting late. Let's make this the last drink.
What time is it?
Oh, it's 20 to 10.
Oh.
My reservation at the hatchery is for 10. Here.
Thanks. Cigarette? Oh, empty. Some more out in the other room. I'll get it.
I'd love to get you on a slow boat to China.
Johnny!
Oh, I'm coming.
He's gone.
What? Well, he can't be.
But he is. The window's wide open.
Oh, the fire escape. What a smart guy I am. Trading 3 drinks of bourbon for $2 million on the hoof. Oh, that's the biggest bar check I ever picked up.
That's a big bar check for anyone to pick up. As a matter of fact, it's a bigger bar check than you've ever heard of anyone picking up before. And that should give you an idea of what to expect in the second act as you follow this new CBS series starring Dick Powell in the title role, yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Well, nobody could say I wasn't working fast. I'd only been in town for an hour, and I'd already succeeded in losing Milton Brooks III. I spent another hour of his all-too-short life expectancy unsuccessfully shaking down the neighborhood for him. And then, feeling very much like a bloodhound that had flunked his sniffing exam, I went back to Butler's apartment.
No luck, Johnny.
Oh, sure, plenty of luck. All bad.
Is there anything I can do to help?
A kiss for luck.
What are you going to do?
Nothing. Just a little phone call.
Police headquarters.
This is Johnny Dollar. Give me missing persons.
Any particular one?
Don't be a wise guy. Lieutenant Fisher.
Yes, sir. Lieutenant Fisher.
Fisher, this is Johnny Dollar.
Hello, Dollar. Who'd you lose?
One man, my mind, and if I'm not careful, my professional reputation. The guy's name is Brooks, Milford III. Got anything on him?
Hold on.
All right.
Oh, don't look at me like that. It wasn't all my fault.
Dollar?
Yeah?
We haven't found him yet, but we think we know where he is.
Huh?
The Hudson River. At 11:15 tonight, his top coat, complete with identification, was found taking a ride on the 125th Street ferry.
Oh. Anything else?
Nothing much. A package of matches was found under the coat, monogram. You don't happen to know anybody whose initials are H.H., do you?
H.H.?
Yeah.
There's always Horace Height.
Wise
thanks, Fisher. I'll check back with you later.
I'll be.
H.H. Harold Hatcher.
What are you mumbling about? Bad news?
Looks like about $2 million worth. They found Milford's coat on the 125th Street ferry.
You and your faraway romantic places.
Very funny. Now, I'll see you later, honey, and maybe about 11. Expense account, item 4. Nightclubs. $28. Harold Hatcher's hatchery was in a cellar under a hotel, but the prices were high enough to rate a penthouse. The club was draped in too much satin, its lady customers in too little. The decor was French provincial, the music was Brazilian, and the food was from Dixie. The drinks looked weak and the waiters looked strong. All in all, the joint was a sight for sore eyes, for making them sore. The only pretty thing in the place was a blonde. She came strolling up to my table, her hips unconsciously sending subtle little messages back to the rumba band. She opened her mouth, slid her tongue over her lower lip, and let a few warm, soft words slide out.
Looking for someone?
Well, you'll do until the real thing comes along. Sit down.
Thanks. I won't have a drink.
I didn't ask you.
My name is Janelle.
Janelle? Wow, that's a nice name.
I understand you were asking about Mr. Hatcher.
Well, I asked if he was in. The waiter said he wasn't. Do you know him?
More than somewhat. What do you want to see him about?
A mutual friend, Milford Brooks.
Uh-huh. I know most of the quiet-closed boys around here, so you want a cop. You don't look like the type that would be a society friend of the Brooks family, so what are you?
I'll ignore that. Is Hatcher around?
He might be.
Then come on. Where's his office?
The top of those stairs.
Can I expect any trouble getting in?
You won't have any trouble.
How do you know?
Because Harold sent me down here to look you over.
Oh.
I think you're all right.
So, I won myself the good housekeeping seal of approval, huh?
Keeping house with you would meet with my approval.
I ran for my life, had a slow walk up the stairs. When I located the door to Hatcher's office, I knocked once and went in.
Come on in.
Thanks. So I'm Johnny Dollar. I was hired by East Coast underwriters to protect the interest of a kid named Milford Brooks III.
Now, what's that supposed to mean to me?
You know him, don't you?
Well, he isn't exactly one of my boozing buddies.
How much money does he owe you?
Yeah, we've got him on the books for a few bob. Why?
They picked up his top coat tonight on the 125th Street ferry. He wasn't in it. It might have been suicide, or it might have been a knockover. It made it look like a suicide. What's your choice?
What do you get off asking me about my choice?
Where were you between 11 and 11:30 tonight?
What's it to you?
I thought you might like to rehearse some answers. The law will be asking some questions real soon now.
I don't know why I should tell you, but I was driving around in my car, getting some air.
Oh, now you'll have to do better than that. They found one of your match folders under Brooks' coat.
You're out of your mind. Let me ask you. The kid owed me a couple of $100,000. You think I'm going around knocking off my own assets?
Hatcher, I don't know whether you're stupid or bright.
Don't worry about it. I know.
What about that insurance policy?
What insurance policy?
Now, look, Hatcher, we're big boys. We both know that changing a beneficiary in an insurance policy is a legal transaction. That means witnesses. That means it isn't secret.
What are you talking about?
That you and East Coast underwriters and I know all know that Brooks made you the beneficiary in his policy and that you stand to come into $2 million when they fish out his body.
I don't know anything about it.
Motives don't come much bigger.
I'm telling you, this is all news to me, and you and nobody else is going to make me move off that story.
I feel the same about mine. It doesn't take a genius to know that Brooks didn't love you $2 million worth. There's only one logical reason for his making you the beneficiary. You forced him into it. Who'd believe anything else?
Who cares? They'd have to prove it. And brother, that can't be done. Now, how would you... Yeah. Okay, Rocky, thanks for the news. Take the inspector into the bar and buy him a drink. I'll be right down. Dollar, did you turn me in?
They're here, huh?
Yeah.
No, I didn't turn you in. I'm not a cop.
Well, come on. Maybe they just want to sell me some tickets to the policeman's ball.
For a guy in a hot spot, Hatcher was certainly a cool customer. I followed him out of the office, down the stairs, and back into the club. Janelle was sitting there right where I'd left her. And I thought to myself, now there's a gal who should never sit down. She looks so pretty standing up.
Janelle, buy Mr. Dollar a drink. I have to go play 20 questions with some fellas in the bar.
Sure, baby. Anything you say. Anything.
I'll see you, Dollar.
Yeah.
How'd you make out?
Well, you can never tell about a guy like that. He's a smart boy, strong, silent type.
Wouldn't talk, huh? A real close-mouth act. About what?
Oh, just a little doodad. $2 million life insurance policy.
Wait a minute. That young Brooks kid?
That's right.
I knew it. Tried to tell him he'd get into trouble, but he wouldn't listen to me.
Oh, you knew about it, huh? I suppose you also know what was behind it.
Sure, Milford owed him some money. A lot of money. It's in writing.
What kind of writing?
The personal note that Brooks was going to get back if he made Harold beneficiary.
Well, where is this note?
Oh, I look like the kind of girl who'd put the finger on her boyfriend.
You look like the kind of girl who'd do anything if she wanted to.
Thanks. I'll give you a slight hint. It's in his office. You'll find it in the inside pocket of one of his suits in the wardrobe. What are you waiting for? I'll watch the bar.
Nothing, sweetheart. Nothing at all. Whatever her reasons, Mr. Harold Hatcher's little female playmate was trying awful hard to send him up on a murder rap. And I was going to try awful hard not to let her down. Back in Hatcher's office, I found myself alone in a room with a telephone. And being a guy who can never resist a free call, I unleashed the magic wonders of the AT&T.
This better be you, Johnny Dollar.
Shh, quiet, Butter. I've only got a few seconds.
Seems that's all you ever have for me. Now, if you
Now, look, Angel, just another hour. I'll get you a nice present.
I don't care if you're another century. And as for presents, the last one you brought me was a drunk, and you even let him get away from me. Good night.
Life presents a gloomy picture ever downward toward the tomb. Having wasted those few precious moments of an already misspent youth, I decided I'd get on my pony before Mr. Hatcher showed up. I found Milford Brooks' personal note in one of Hatcher's suits, all right. As a matter of fact, I found something in all his suits. A great big glimmer of light. Expense account, item 5. Taxi fare, $10. I left the office in a hurry, Janelle at her table and Hatcher at his bar. I got out of the club and into a taxi parked a half block down the street. There, I waited until my favorite suspect left the hatchery and piled into another cab, and off we went. On a chase that would have made Ben-Hur look like a plowing bee. We skittered over to Lexington and headed uptown. At 72nd, the cab turned right and pulled to a stop. My driver was on his toes, and his toes were on his brake. We stopped, too, half a block behind.
You want us to wait, huh?
No, here you are. Keep the change.
Hey, thanks.
It was a garage that belonged to a residence on the parallel street a block away. The living quarters upstairs were dark enough to look interesting. I indulged in a bit of genteel breaking and entering. Entering that old barn didn't take much breaking. I crept up the stairs. They sounded like they were left over from an old ghost story. And so did the first voice I heard when I stopped halfway up.
We've got to be careful, especially about that Johnny Dollar. Are you sure he didn't follow you?
That voice sounded awfully dry to be coming from a guy who supposedly had spent most of the night snoozing on the bottom of the Hudson River. It was Milford Brooks III. Get up on your feet, Brooks.
But now, wait a minute,
I started this thing slugging you, and I might as well finish it the same way.
Leave him alone.
Now, pull in the claws, Angel. And sit on his lap.
You hard-footed. I'll kill you. Get off of me. Huh? I should have known better than to get mixed up with a low-class female like you.
Why, you don't.
Now, hold it. We pushed the lady around enough, Brooks.
Tell me to be careful, will you? Why didn't you think of that before you let him here?
Wipe your nose, little boy.
Now, don't you go getting fat-headed, gorgeous. I'm only interested in one thing. Saving the insurance company $2 million. And, Buster, I think you've done it for me. This is insurance fraud. It has been ever since you put on that fake suicide attempt. Trying to extort $500,000 out of the company.
Dollar, wait a minute.
Now, come on. We're leaving.
You heard him, Dollar.
Harold. Hatcher.
He said, wait a minute. He wants to talk.
Yeah, everybody wants to get in on the act. How did you get here?
When the police in this town think maybe a guy's jumped off a ferry boat and nobody's seen him do it, they check the counters on the turnstiles at each end. In the case of Brooks, as many people got off that boat as got on.
Well, it makes sense. They'd hardly hold the guy because somebody lost a topcoat.
How did you know we were here?
You know me, baby. You never go any place I don't know about. Okay, Brooks, you felt like talking. Now I feel like listening. Get it up.
Well, I don't know what you mean.
I know what you mean, Hatcher. One, he gave you a big, fat $2 million motive for murder. And two, he did his best to make it look like you did murder him with that broken-down match cover plant on the ferry boat. It's just that simple.
And you, baby?
Harold, please.
You put him up to it, didn't you, you cheap little muscler? Trying to get rid of me, will you?
No, Harold.
Now, calm down, Hatcher. You don't need any gun around here. They're tame.
Well, maybe I'm not. Since so many people have gone to so much trouble to hand me a nice, easy way to make $2 million, maybe I'll just go ahead and make it. I'll show these amateurs how these things are really done. Come on, Brooks. How'd you like to go for a nice, cool, half-a-ferry boat ride?
No, Hatcher. No. Look, it's her fault. I'll give you anything you
want. You're wrong, sonny boy. You're going to give me everything.
No. You can't. Let me out of here.
Brooks bolted for the door. Hatcher snapped a shot at him. And I hit Hatcher with a do-or-die tackle from behind. The gun flew out of his hand.
No, you don't.
I beat him to it and swung it straight into his skull. Half the people were lying in the room bleeding. Brooks from gunshot, Hatcher from gun butt. And Janelle and I both stood there panting. But believe me, not for each other. We stood that way until the police arrived.
It's beyond me. I sent you out to protect the life of a very important policyholder, and now where are we? Standing in a hospital corridor, worrying about whether he's going to live or die.
As far as I'm concerned, Mr. Farnsworth, you're only half right. I'm just standing in a hospital corridor.
Dollar, you're heartless.
If you'd been bitten where he bit me, you wouldn't care if you'd lived or died either. I'm getting out of here.
Well, where are you going?
It'll be explained in my expense account under miscellaneous expense. Now, don't fall over when you come to an item for $318.
$318? For what?
Not for what, Farnsworth? For whom? Expense account total. And it all adds up to a little matter of $1,182.23. Which you may say, Mr. Farnsworth, is a lot of money for one man to spend in 2 days. But you must bear in mind that the amount at stake was $2 million. And you know the price of steak these days. It might comfort you to know that I just returned from the hospital. Brooks was strong enough to make a full statement, which you will find enclosed. This in itself should prove sufficient to establish evidence of attempted fraud against your company, allowing you to immediately avoid his policy. It boils down to one sentence, to wit. Brooks and Janelle wanted to get rid of Hatcher so that they could live happily ever after. Knowing those two, they never had a chance. And oh, yes, that miscellaneous item, the one for $318, it was a bracelet for a certain party who made this special investigation for me very special. Oh, if you want a receipt for this item, I'll send you a lock of her hair. Yours, truly, Johnny Dollar.
So, with the final signature on his expense account, Dick Powell as Johnny Dollar has just closed the books on his first adventure in this new CBS series. Be sure to tune in again next week when the expense account covers Special Investigation Singapore, another unusual adventure starring Dick Powell in...
Yours, truly, Johnny Dollar.
You're listening to HOJO Radio. More classic old-time radio coming your way next.
The Columbia Broadcasting System presents Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar. The next half hour has its baggage packed to take a trip with America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator, Johnny Dollar. At insurance investigation, he is just an expert. At making out his expense account, he is an absolute genius.
Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to Home Office, American Continental Life Insurance Company, Hartford, Connecticut. The following is an accounting of my expenditures fulfilling your assignment as a bodyguard. The body being that of your late policyholder, Robert W. Perry. Expense account item 1. Fare on night train Hartford to New York, $3.80. Expense account item 2. $1.80 taxi to Lower Manhattan the following morning to offices Perry and Van Bruten, importers, arriving as promised at exactly 9 a.m.
Help you?
Yeah, my name is Johnny Dollar. I have an appointment with Mr. Perry for 9 o'clock.
Oh, yes, from the insurance company. Well, you're right on time.
Yeah, they told me I'd better be.
Mr. Perry just came in. He's alone and waiting for you. I'll buzz him that you're here.
Thanks. What was left of your policyholder, Mr. Perry, was just sliding out of his swivel chair as I hit the room. The top of his desk had erupted.
and splinters of mahogany pointed their sharp fingers upward through lazy circles of smoke swirling toward the ceiling. The buzzer from his secretary's desk had been rigged to a booby trap.
Oh, no, Mr. Perry.
Stay away from him. There's nothing you can do for him. He's dead.
Oh, what happened? What happened? Whatever happened?
Come on, let's get back out of here. Here you are. Now, sit down. I'll get you a drink of water. There you are. Now, just drink this.
We had an explosion. I turned in an alarm. Is anybody hurt? There's a doctor on the third floor. Should I call him?
Never mind the doctor. Call the police. And nobody gets in here until they arrive. And the rest of you, go on, beat it. Run along. And turn off that alarm. Okay, miss. Now, just take it easy.
But it was all so sudden. What happened?
Well, that's not too hard to figure out. Somebody wanted to give your boss, Mr. Perry, a shortcut through life. So, whoever it was, figured out that his secretary would never buzz her boss unless he was at his desk. They rigged up a bomb somewhere in his desk that would go off when you buzzed him.
Oh, but I killed him.
Now, wait a minute. Don't get hysterical on me. There's excitement enough around here, and there'll be plenty more when the police get here. Keep cool.
But I did it. You saw me do it.
Look, the way you put it, I killed him by coming in here and giving you my name so you'd buzz him. Drop it, will you?
I'm sorry.
Now, what about yesterday? Was he here?
Yes, all day.
What time was it when you last used the buzzer?
Like, right up to the last minute, about 5:30.
Who left the office first, you or Perry?
Mr. Perry, he always leaves first, and I lock up.
Looks of things, you should have used more locks last night. Somebody got in here to do some wiring. Uh-oh, I forgot that fire alarm. All that equipment and no fire. Look, before the police arrive, do you know why I was sent here?
Yes. Mr. Perry recently felt that his life was in danger. He thought that, well, with a $100,000 policy, the insurance company would do everything they could to help keep him alive.
Well, we didn't have much of a chance, did we? What was he afraid of?
I don't know.
Okay. What were his other appointments for today?
He only had 2. His partner, Mr. Van Bruten, at 11, and then...
One at a time now. Van Bruten. Anything special about their meeting?
Yes. Mr. Van Bruten arrived just yesterday from Holland.
You mean there was a branch of this firm in Holland?
Yes, and Mr. Perry was buying out Van Bruten's interest. They had their final meeting at Van Bruten's hotel last night.
Oh?
And Van Bruten was coming by this morning to pick up his money.
Cash?
No, a cashier's check. The bank was to deliver it here at 10:30.
Now, quick. Perry's other appointment. Who was that?
Christine, his wife.
Oh, yeah. Now Christine, the beneficiary.
Yes, but she wouldn't have been the beneficiary in another 2 weeks. They were getting a divorce.
Thanks for the motive. You don't like her?
I didn't mean it that way.
How about Perry? Did you like him? Okay, well, here's an easy one. What's your name?
Susan Gates. Now, isn't that about enough?
Okay, Susan, you'd better save your voice. During the next few hours, you're going to have a lot of talking to do. Oh, here come the firemen, and we haven't even got a child to ask them to save.
Where's the fire? I'm looking for a fire.
Just stick around. When the cops get here, somebody will get burned. The firemen should have stuck around because the cops arrived in a blaze of glory. It was a very high-class investigation. 2 lieutenants. Finally, after about an hour, the police photographer ran out of flash bulbs, the office of the deceased ran out of fingerprints, and the lieutenants ran out of questions. So the on-the-scene phase of the investigation was closed. At about 5 minutes of 11, I left the police to pack up their notebooks, their clues, and the body, and went into the outer office. Susan looked like she could use a big, broad shoulder to weep on, but unfortunately, I was wearing my light gray suit. About then, a dark blue suit and a deep green voice entered the room from the corridor.
Say, there's some feller out here says he belongs here. His name is Van Bruten. Shall I let him in?
Oh, what do you think? His name is on the door you just opened.
Oh, indeed, now. Well, my name happens to be Murphy, and it's on beds all over the country. But that don't mean I'm stuffed with feathers, does it?
This'll teach you, Johnny Dollar, never to cross tongues with an Irishman. Okay, send him in, officer.
Yeah. All right, you can come in.
The policeman out there. Is there trouble here? Oh, I am Bremer Van Bruten. Where's Mr. Perry?
What?
He's waiting for me, no?
No.
But my appointment.
He's not keeping any. He's dead.
Dead? This is impossible. Last night I saw him. He was well. What happened?
He was hit by a buzz bomb.
A buzz bomb?
Please.
Oh, sorry. I forgot other people aren't used to these things.
You mean that was foul play?
Very foul.
Please, may I sit down? My first visit in all these years, since before the war. It was to be so happy. Now, tragedy like this. He was a good man, a good partner.
I understand that as of last night, you were no longer partners.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I realize, of course, that it is indelicate to speak of such things as money at a time like this. But that is why I'm here, to receive my payment.
Oh, just because Perry got his, there's no reason for you not getting yours, huh?
But you misunderstand me. I am deeply grieved. But since the transaction was consummated, what is there to do? A delay would be a needless waste of money. I have already paid for passage back to Amsterdam tomorrow.
Your check is here, Mr. Van Bruten. Here you are.
Thank you. In all my years of business, this is indeed the saddest moment.
Yeah, those are very kind words, Van Bruten, and I'd believe them if your eyes would stop counting all the zeros on that check. Expense account, item 3, 90 cents. Phone call to your company.
American Continental Life Insurance Company, good morning.
Oh, well, that's a matter of opinion. This is Johnny Dollar. Put me through to Mr. Gordon, will you?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gordon's office.
Look, honey, this is Johnny Dollar. I want to speak to Gordon. Oh, and while I'm telling him what I've got to tell him, maybe you'd better sit in his lap with some smelling salts.
I'm not that type of a secretary. And besides, he doesn't have a lap.
Hello, Dollar. How are you making out?
I owed about $100,000.
What's that?
Yeah, somebody turned Mr. Perry into a firecracker. He's dead.
Oh, that's bad news. It's a big policy, you know.
Yeah. Look, what I want to know is, shall I stay on the case?
Oh, certainly, Dollar. Certainly, by all means. By the way, is there a chance of proving suicide? There's a non-payment clause.
To make this one a suicide, there'd have to be a Santa Claus. Nobody could hate himself enough to do it this way.
Well, what are the fraud possibilities?
Only fair. There's an estranged wife. She's the beneficiary, but she wouldn't have been in a couple of weeks. Divorce coming up. I'll start with her.
All right, Dollar. Good luck. But what's those expenses?
Why, Gordon, I'm surprised. I think an insurance man would be the first to want to see a fellow live a little. Expense account, item 3. Cab fare, $2.80. Tip to driver, $1. Christine Perry's apartment was on Sutton Place, overlooking the river. And from what the doorman told me, all of the proprieties. I took the elevator up to the 24th floor, and there I discovered that our garden fresh widow was living high in more ways than one. Everything about the place was French. The maid that led me into the living room, the decor, and the perfume, which reminded you that breathing can be fun. I looked up from enjoying my nose to see Mrs. Perry looking down hers.
Mr. Dollar?
Oh, Mrs. Perry.
I believe we can dispense with any getting acquainted. You're an insurance investigator, interested in the death of my husband. So naturally you're here because you've jumped to the conclusion that I killed him.
Oh? You're the one that's jumping to conclusions, lady.
Then what do you want? The policy's in order, the premiums are fully paid.
I'm not quite sure. I know that you've got a great motive. So far, the only motive I've found.
You haven't had much time to look, have you?
Check. This is my first stop. Maybe you can help me. Do you know anyone who would be happier with your husband out of the way?
I know very little about my husband's friends, or for that matter, his activities for the past 6 months. That's when I left him.
Uh-huh. Well, that's not much help for either of us. Well, without someone else to suspect, I may just have to concentrate on you.
Mr. Dollar, I picked him and I want to concentrate on me.
Well, I hope you're as long on alibis as you are short on your temper. Where were you last night?
With a friend, Al Donovan. For a while, the same place my husband was. And I've witnesses to prove who was with him. Anybody at the Club Caprice can tell you.
Well, save me a trip. I can't afford the prices they get there.
Certainly, pleasure. My husband was with his beautiful little secretary, Susan Case.
Well, I wouldn't be more surprised if your late husband walked through the door and said that...
All right, mister, that's enough.
Al!
Yeah.
How much did you
I'm
do?
a big guy, baby, 6'4", and I've got big ears to match.
Al, please.
Would this be Mr. Donovan, your companion of last evening?
I'm getting you out of here, Christine.
I don't know what you're saying.
You lie to me. How can I help you if you lie to me? You call me stupid. The way you're playing this, you'll alibi yourself right into a cell. I'm getting you out of here.
What are you doing to me, Al? You're crazy.
Come on.
She's right. You are stupid, Donovan. She was doing just fine till you dropped in.
Mister, you've been asking a lot of questions. Now I'll give you one answer. All right, Christine. So much for the wise guy. Now about you and your alibi. You wasn't with me at the Club Caprice last night, and if it's so easy to prove your husband was there with his secretary, who were you there with? You told me you were going with your husband, talking divorce, remember?
When Al measured me for that swing, I measured my chances with him. To me, he looked like one of the corporate assets of Murder Incorporated. So I rolled with a punch, hit the floor, and stayed there, with my eyes closed and my ears open. What I heard was Christine's alibi flying out the window, Mr. Donovan giving her a few loving cuffs, and finally the pair of them flying out the door. I allowed myself the luxury of a 20-second massage on the new lump on my jaw, and then I got up and started out after them. This case was becoming interesting.
In just a moment, we'll return to the second act of Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar. But first, this important message. $60 million is what the Red Cross needs to carry on its great work in 1949. If this seems like a lot, just try to review briefly the various activities of the Red Cross. It can't be done briefly. Red Cross services extend into every area of our lives, bringing care, comfort, and recreation to the men of the armed forces, bringing first aid training, nutritional programs, nursing services, blood banks to our own communities. And all the time, as these activities go on uninterrupted, the Red Cross is holding itself ready to spring into instant action in case of disaster. Fire, flood, explosion, any sort of catastrophe finds the Red Cross on the scene with food, clothing, and medical care. $60 million isn't so much in the light of such activity. We can make it with each of us contributing. We're giving to our own safety, security, and peace of mind, and to our neighbors, too. So let's give generously to our own Red Cross. And now back to the second act of Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar.
I hit the street just in time to see Donovan pushing Christine Perry into a cream-colored convertible. When they got rolling, I piled into a cab and followed them, and the chase was on. At 57th and Broadway, things got complicated. My cab was 3 cars behind theirs when a red light flashed them to a stop. Then the door of their convertible flew open. Christine jumped out, dashed across the street, and down to the subway. Since Donovan didn't follow her, I followed him. When he finally pulled to a stop, he took 2 chances. He parked in a no-parking zone and walked straight into the building beside it, a police station.
This is Mr. Dollar, Lieutenant. He's been waiting for you for some time.
No? Well, you can wait outside, Sergeant.
Okay, sir.
My name is Johnny Dollar, Lieutenant. Here are my credentials.
Insurance, huh?
Yeah, the Perry murder in particular.
Well, you've come to the right place, Dollar. A man named Donovan just walked in here and made a full confession.
He what?
That's right. My clerk's just typing it up. In the meantime, the gentleman is down in the tank having a bite of lunch on the city.
He confessed. Does his story add up?
As far as I know. I haven't heard too much about the case myself. It's not in my precinct.
What did he use for a motive?
Jealousy. Says he's in love. Wanted to marry Perry's wife.
Did he say how he managed it?
Yeah. He stole a key to the office from the wife's apartment, entered the building last night, and wired a bomb to the buzzer system.
Uh-huh. Well, guys do a lot of strange things in the name of love.
Yeah, looks like Donovan did.
Ah, he either killed a man, or he's trying to cover up for someone who did. Now, listen, don't execute him for a couple of days. Huh, Lieutenant? spent the rest of the afternoon downtown in the offices of Perry and Van Bruten, importers. The partners' correspondents told me two things. They had been extremely friendly, and Van Bruten was extremely bald. Perry had been sending him toupees from a famous Hollywood makeup firm. At 4:30, I opened the drawer marked Employment Files. They rocked me with two minor explosions of their own. The folder marked Donovan Albert J. told me that he'd been employed as Perry's bodyguard over a period of years and that he was canned the day before the murder. Before I received blast number 2 from the folder of Perry's secretary, Susan Gates, the office door opened behind me.
Well, Mr. Dollar, you're supplied with a search warrant, I hope?
Just the one I was born with, Mrs. Perry. The kind they say kills cats. You know, curiosity.
What are you looking for?
I found it. How about you? What are you doing here?
Why, I'm tired of dueling with you. I'm here because I want to... Well, I've got to talk to someone. I called your hotel. You went there. I tried to locate Susan, but I couldn't, so I thought maybe you'd be down here.
What's the basis of our sudden friendship?
You should know. Al Donovan's confession.
The newspapers have it already?
Yes, but there's not a word of truth in it. He didn't kill my husband.
How do you know that?
Because... Well, it's impossible, that's all.
Yeah, it was a little hard for me to swallow, too, when the police told me about it. But since then, it's become a little more digestible.
What do you mean?
I just learned that he was your husband's bodyguard. He was fired yesterday. That same day, your husband calls his insurance company screaming for another bodyguard. Now, how would that add up for you? A beef, maybe?
Al Donovan's a fool. He never thinks. He just rushes in and says or does whatever's on his mind. He told my husband if he didn't divorce me that... Well, he threatened him.
Now, you came in here saying that Donovan's confession was no good, and you spend your time making it sound better and better. What do you want, anyway?
I can't help it. I've got to tell you the truth. I know it doesn't sound like I'm trying to help Al, but what can I do?
You really want me to answer that? Here. If you want to help Al, phone the police. Tell them Donovan made that phony confession to cover up for you. It's simple.
Not as simple as that.
You don't need the gun, Christine.
Hang up the phone.
Sure.
I hope you don't mind my aversion to being held for murder myself.
Oh, well, that's a common aversion. I'm in no hurry to see you behind bars. But don't forget, when the cops want to pick you up, they'll do it. Now, don't spoil the rest of the afternoon. Take that gun someplace else. I've got things to do.
The first, I imagine, will be the call that I wouldn't make.
No, not necessarily. If it'll make you feel any better, we'll just put this phone out of order. Satisfied?
Of course not. But don't get me wrong, Mr. Dollar. I wish you nothing but success in your investigation.
I puzzled over that exit line for a few seconds after she'd gone, and then I went back to the company's employment file, namely the application for employment as secretary of Susan Gates. It informed me that during the war she had worked in a munitions plant. Her specialty, wiring bomb fuses. When Miss Susan Gates reached home at 8:30 that evening, she found a visitor, me.
Oh, how did you get in here?
A professional secret.
Oh, you scared me. What do you want? Why did you come here?
I wanted to bring you the good news. I heard on the radio that Al Donovan confessed to Perry's murder.
Al? I can't believe it.
Why not? Who do you like for the spot?
Why, Christine. Al is covering up for her.
I'd like to agree with you. If it turns out that Christine wound up her husband's life with a bang, the company that hired me saves $100,000. But I don't know. She claims she has all kinds of alibis. One of them is you.
Me?
Yeah. Did you see her at the Club Caprice last night?
Why, yes.
I know who you were with. Your boss.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, I'm not preaching a sermon. I want to know who she was with.
I don't know. A man I'd never seen before. Mr. Perry knew him, but he wouldn't tell me who he was.
Why not?
I don't know. He said I might get the wrong idea.
About what?
I don't know. We didn't sit there and talk about it all night. Why should we sit here and talk about it all night?
All right. When a census taker shows up and asks a lot of questions, people answer them. When an investigator tries to do his job, they make the proverbial clam look like a blabbermouth.
Look, Mr. Dollar, believe me, this has been a greater shock to me than to anyone else.
Excepting, of course, your late employer, Mr. Perry. How long did you work for him?
4 years.
Now, where'd you work before then?
Why, Oh.
Let me help you. Bombs, wiring fuses. Remember?
All right, I remember.
Good. Then maybe you'll remember a little bit more. Let's go back to last night. The guy with Christine Perry. Who was he?
I tell you, I don't know.
Was it Van Bruten?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, I mean...
I'll get that.
No, I'll go.
You make sure you just don't keep going. Susan! When Susan snapped the spring lock to open the door, the gun outside opened up. The first slug caught her in the left shoulder, spinning her out of the way of the rest of them. It was getting monotonous. Every time a buzzer went off, things started booming. Susan was sprawled out on the floor in front of the door, and to open it, I had to move her. By the time I did, the hallway outside was empty. Okay, now, take it easy. It won't start hurting for a couple of minutes. We'll have a doctor here by then. He'll give you something. Now, just try and keep calm. Here, I'll throw my coat over you. I'll try not to move.
Oh. I'm trying to ruin this rug.
Never mind the rug. What we want to worry about is who tried to ruin you.
What'll they do to me?
What will who do to you?
They'll arrest me.
No, they don't arrest people for getting shot. Do you have any idea who it was?
That man in the office this morning. The one who picked up the check.
Van Bruten?
No, he wasn't Van Bruten.
He was a phony.
Yes.
And you still gave him that check?
Yes.
Well, I won't ask you why. But apparently you gave him the money and then tried to blackmail him. Is that right?
They'll arrest me.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised. Who is this guy? Where can I find him? Come on, now, don't pass out on me now. His name, quick.
Van Sant.
Where does he live?
Nelson Hotel.
Under his own name?
Oh, I don't.
I don't blame you. I could use a few moments of unconsciousness myself. The Nelson Hotel didn't have a Dutch name on the register, so I got a hold of the housekeeper and found out how many rooms her staff hadn't been able to make up all day because of Do Not Disturb signs on their doors. I went a-calling at these particular rooms. On the 9th floor, I awakened one old maid. On the 7th, I startled a bunch of poker players who thought they were being raided. On the 5th, I blushed my way out of the bridal suite. And on the 4th, I struck the door of 427. And the jackpot.
Who's there? Don't you see the sign? I do not wish to be disturbed.
Oh, sorry. I must have the wrong room. I started up the hall after the fire axe, but when I got to it, I changed my mind. One of the few things I'd learned about this guy Van Sant was that he loved to murder people through doors. So I decided against trying to chop his down. Then I remembered the way those people came pouring out of those offices earlier in the day when they heard that fire alarm. So I picked up the little red hammer next to the big red fire axe, broke the little glass window, pulled the little brass hook, and set off a big brassy noise. Then I rushed back to 427. Fire! Fire!
Where's the fire?
Right here in my eyes, sweetheart.
Why you come here? You wish you hadn't.
Never mind the dresser. You're through shooting guns for the day. What do you think, Van Sant? You want to try some more?
You cannot make me stay here. The fire, we will all die.
You'd look good barbecued. But I'll make a deal with you. You talk. If I like what I hear, I'll show you how to get out of here alive.
How do I know this?
Well, you don't think I'm going to stay here and fry, do you? And if you don't start flapping that tongue in a hurry, I'll probably just tie you to a chair and run. First, where's Van Bruten?
You will find him in the bedroom.
He better be alive. He's out cold. What's the matter with him?
He will be all right. He's on the sedatives.
Where did this identity switch start? You better hurry up. I smell smoke.
I knew Van Bruten in Amsterdam. I knew about the sale of his interest. And I knew that the girl in the office here had never seen Van Bruten. Well, let's go now.
Now, don't get up. I can feel it getting warm in here.
The firefighters. We will be safe.
Now, don't be too sure. They always start at the top floor and work their way down. Come on, I can hear those flames crackling.
You know the rest. Last night, when the transaction was all finished with Barry, I gave to Van Bruten some sedative and his cocoa.
You set up that bomb so Perry'd get it before you showed up to pick up the check.
Yeah, I told you that. Then it happened that girl didn't know I was an imposter. I don't know how.
Well, let me tell you. She's been sending old Van Bruten in there toupees for the last 4 years. Gray ones, my red-headed friend.
Oh, yeah. Let's get out of here now.
Yeah, out. Oh! Expense account item 4, $1.40. Night letter informing you that American Continental would have to meet payment of claim to Mrs. Christine Perry, innocent widow of the insured. The only thing she was guilty of was trying to stay on the right side of a hot-tempered boyfriend. She lied about who she was with at the Club Caprice, not to fix herself an alibi, but to keep Al Donovan from learning that she'd been out with another guy. That guy being the real Mr. Van Bruten, who had only taken her out to try to talk her into reconciling with his friend, her husband. Item 5, $60, silver chafing dish. Wedding present for Christine and her new husband, Al Donovan. Well, that was the least she could do for the guy who had confessed to a murder he thought she had committed. Item 6, $8, flowers for Susan Gates, prison hospital. Item 7, fine for turning in false alarm, $1,000 and no cents. And that's what I think I'm beginning to get for getting into this racket. No sense. Expense account total, $1,263. Yours, truly, Johnny Dollar.
In just a moment, we'll tell you about next week's Johnny Dollar Adventure. But first, this reminder. Just a little earlier tonight on CBS, Jack Benny turned dramatic actor on the Ford Theater. But this Sunday, he'll be back again on his own show with a special treat for the Jack Benny fans. After the last broadcast on which the Ronald Colemans appeared, thousands of letters came in from fans asking that Jack invite Ronnie and Benita back again soon. The Waukegan Wit did, and Ronnie and Benita, by popular demand, returned to the Jack Benny program this Sunday in what should result in one of the most hilarious broadcasts of the year. So be sure to listen to Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Coleman on the Jack Benny Show, which is heard on all CBS stations this Sunday. Listen in again next week when CBS brings you Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar, with Charles Russell as Johnny. Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar is written by Paul Dudley and Gil Dowd, with music by Mark Warno, and is produced and directed by Richard Sandville for CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Get this and get it straight. Crime doesn't pay, which was the motto of our next broadcast from the pen of Raymond Chandler. The first show aired on NBC in June 1947. And then in 1948, the series moved to CBS, where it was renamed. For 114 episodes, the CBS version ran and ended in September 1950. It was a more hard-boiled program than many of the other private detective shows at the time, containing few quips or quaint characters. We're proud to present to you The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, right here on HOJO Radio.
Get this and get it straight. Crime's a sucker's road. And those who travel it wind up in the gutter, the prison, or the grave. There's no other end, but they never learn. This one had soft brown eyes and an accent, and she came to town with a job to do. But before it was done, death had struck 3 times. Then she was gone. And all because of 30 drops of pigeon's blood, worth $150,000.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of mystery, comes his most famous character and crime's most deadly enemy, as we present The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. Now, with Gerald Moore, starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's exciting story, The Pigeon's Blood.
At 5 o'clock of any weekday afternoon, the lobby of the started building in downtown Los Angeles is a mess of milling office workers. So I was 10 impolite minutes peering into chattering faces before I found my new client, Charlene Danielle. When she'd called me an hour ago, her slight French accent had been coated with worry, as she identified herself as an illustrator for a fashion magazine with offices in the building, and said that she needed help. She was huddled in a shadowed far corner of the lobby like a frightened puppy, going through his first thunderstorm. When I was close to her, she stepped into the light and hurriedly took my arm.
I am glad you didn't disappoint me, Mr. Marlowe. Come along, please, quickly. There's a bar just across the lobby where we can talk.
All right.
Come along, please. It's already late.
Soft, lustrous hair that was shingled into 1,000 short curls which kept running into one another framed a beautiful face, and a wisp of a smile that never seemed to leave her lips labeled her gentle people. I couldn't quite get over it. When we were inside the bar and seated at a table, she was still talking. I was still thinking how lovely she was.
Mr. Marlowe, are you listening?
Oh, yes, of course I am.
Yes. Now, what I want you to do is simple but very, very important. It must be done at once.
Easy, honey. That's not going to help any. Now, one step at a time. What is it, Charlene?
I'm sorry. It's a terrible man named Marty Loomis. He lives here in Los Angeles on North Rossmore Street, number 7710, a private house. He is the one who had the collection stolen from Vivian's father. I know he is...
Hey, wait a minute. Whoa. Slow around the corners, huh? Now, first of all, what's the collection of?
Rubies, Mr. Marlowe. Rare pigeon's blood rubies.
Uh-huh.
Exquisite ones. The 30 of them worth at least, the very least, $150,000.
Tell me, are all the rubies as lovely as you are?
Please, Mr. Marlowe.
Okay. Who's Vivian?
My best friend, the girl I grew up with in Lyon. She's still in France, but I got out before the war to Mexico and Ensenada. Some friends at the Riviera Pacifico helped me to get to California. Vivian and her father, Maurice Chardot, an old man now. They lost everything they had, family, a home, their business, and then they had only the rubies left.
Which should bring us to this guy Loomis, huh?
It does. Mr. Marlowe, he was in France only last month, a guest in the Chardot home. A charming American businessman who was going to buy the rubies.
But who just wouldn't say when. Tell me, Charlene, did anybody actually see him take the stones?
No, but there's no doubt that he did it, Mr. Marlowe. He was one of the few persons who knew where Monsieur Jardot kept them.
What about the police?
Oh, no, Mr. Marlowe, not yet. Only when we know that Loomis still has the stones, when we know where the rubies are. You see, any hurried arrest would only mean that the jewels would be gotten rid of, gone forever.
Why isn't Vivian here, Monsieur Jardot?
I told you. He is an old man, a broken man, and they are penniless. The rubies were going to be sold. That's why this Loomis was visiting with them. Now, please, Mr. Marlowe, can you do this for me? Can you find out where the jewels are? It would mean so much if we can return them. So much.
Yeah. Where can I find you later, Charlene?
I live at the Bradford Arms. The telephone number is Sunset 10229.
10229.
Now, what is your fee, please?
Well, we'll talk about it later, huh?
All right. You are kind. I only hope that later isn't too far away.
For Monsieur Jardot's sake?
Why, yes, for everybody's sake. Good luck.
Somehow or another, I managed to stop at all the red lights and go on all the green ones and not hit anyone all the way from downtown L.A., where I'd left Charlene, up into Hollywood and over to Marty Loomis's house at 7710 North Rossmore. Parking a half a block away, I stood looking at the rambling white house, vintage 1915. I was startled into action by a wiry, white-haired old boy in search of a match. After a quick servicing job, I moved up to the door. As I knocked on the massive display of aging oak, I decided that Marlowe should play the role of crooked jeweler to ease the entrance. When the door finally opened and an ox in Sherney blue serge answered, I wasn't too happy with my choice of roles. A big club would have been better.
Yeah? What do you want?
Marty Loomis. Is he in?
Who's asking questions?
The name's Becker. Mutual friend recommended me to him.
Does Lefty know about this?
He should. Why don't you ask him?
Okay. Come on in. Relax while I find out.
Thanks. Any place in particular?
Yeah. Flat on your back, big mouth. And don't bother going for your gun. I'll do it for you. Ah. Nice 38 at that. Now your wallet. Lefty. Thought you were picking up your cue fast, didn't you, Mr... Oh, Marlowe, huh? Private detective. What were you thinking about when you bit, Big Mouth? Something nice and calico?
You're warm, Buster. My mistake. Where do we go from here?
You, no place. Till I make a phone call. Excuse me.
Big jerk.
Westwood 9903. Yeah. My number? Gladstone, 2742. This won't take long, Marlowe, then you and I can... Oh, hello, Tony. Oh, it's Chalky. No, I looked every place. No, honey, I tell you the stuff just ain't here, but something else is. A private dick named Marlowe. Well, I don't know. Yeah, probably one of that stinking Slater's boys. But you don't have to worry about Marlowe. So long, babe.
Your mother, Chalky?
Listen, Louse, I got one question to ask you, and I want a straight answer fast. Are you working for Zig Slater?
I don't remember.
Well, that's too bad. You know I might have to get nasty if you don't cooperate.
Doesn't much make any difference whether I cooperate or not. Let's face it, huh, Chalky?
All right. Let's do it! Just... Big Mouth.
By the time I sorted my legs out from those that belonged to the coffee table, Chalky was gone. But in his wake, there were three things that a very fast, superficial search revealed. My gun in the hall outside empty, next to the door my wallet intact, and near the overturned coffee table a pawn ticket from the Ryan Loan Company, corner Hill and 8th. A receipt for one gray topcoat, right sleeve ripped, allowing $7.50. I dropped it in my pocket, then put through a call to one lieutenant Ibarra at police headquarters. In a few minutes, I knew that Zig Slater was a fence who had done time twice on stolen property charges, and at present could be found in or around a shop on La Cienega Boulevard near Melrose, where he sold, of all things, tropical fish. I hung up and started out of the door for my car. But in less than 50 feet, I knew I wasn't alone. My shadow was the shock of white hair who earlier had stopped me for a match. It was his turn to be surprised when I suddenly wheeled, grabbed at both his lapels, and shook. Well,
what are you doing?
It's no rumble, Pop. Believe me, I just want to rearrange your marbles. So that when you start talking, it comes out straight. Now, why are you following me? And don't tell me you need me another match. Come on.
I'm telling you because I want to warn you.
About what?
A giant of a man I just saw near your car.
In a beat-up blue Surge, maybe?
Yeah, that's right. You see, I live across the street, and after you gave me that match, I took my regular evening walk. But when I got back, I saw this man, this giant. He was going to let the air out of your tires, I know, but I stopped him. Yes, sir. I yelled at him real loud, and he ran away. He cursed me first. Oh, now, aren't you sorry you shook me like you did?
Yeah, I am. I'd let you shake me back, but there isn't time, Pop.
Well, no matter, fella. I guess I can figure it all right. I mean, the way you're acting must be a beautiful girl behind this someplace. Always is, right?
Right. Just to make sure she stays that way, you'll excuse me, but I got to see a man about some tropical fish. So long, Pop. Zig Slater's place on La Cienega was 3 walls, lined almost solid with bubbling tanks that were home for the kind of screwy-looking fish that made you wonder what they could possibly see with a bad case of DTs. Slater was small and slight, with black darting eyes that were too large for the rest of his face, which was prune-winkled, shaped like a Coke bottle, and had all the come-hither look of an octopus. He was on the phone. It wasn't until I was close enough to hear the number he was after that I was glad he was having trouble.
That was the wrong number.
Because it was the same digit arrangement that Chalky had called earlier, and prefixed Westwood as well.
No, operator, I did not call 9933. It was Westwood 9903. That's right. 03, yeah. Stupid people. Hello, Toby. It's Ziggy, darling. Where have you been? I tried to reach you half a dozen times. A walk, oh. Oh, well, look, baby, you meet me over at... Wait a minute. Lost something, mister?
Why, yes. As a matter of fact, I have. One of my twin swordtails died. I was just admiring yours here. I'd like to buy one.
I'll be right with you.
Oh.
Meet me at the Blue Chip in 30 minutes, huh, sweet? Now, don't worry, I'm a little bit late. I got a few things to do first. Right. Goodbye, baby. Swordtails, mister, are $1.10, $1.35, and $1.80. What'll it be?
What? They started at $1.10?
Uh-huh.
At the last place, I only paid 90 cents for a swordtail. Good one, too.
Then maybe you'd better go back to the last place, huh?
Well, maybe I had. Good night, sir. I was outside in my car and pointed toward the Blue Chip, which was an ex-speakeasy on Santa Monica Boulevard that had quite never gotten over it. I knew that I had something to work on before it was time to call Charlene and report that so far I had located neither the Rubies nor Marty Loomis. With luck, I could have words with Toby at the Blue Chip before Slater arrived. So 20 minutes later, when I was there and seated at an all-alone table for two, drink in front of me, I looked up at the sound of high heels clicking toward me and the 5.5 feet of blonde who grew out of them in wraparound suede. When I called Toby by name and she pivoted like she was built on a hinge, I was back in business.
I don't know you. What do you want?
If it's handy, Chalky's telephone number.
You're Marlowe, aren't you?
Yes, and private detective you ordered bounced around. Now, let's not waste any more of each other's time, Toby. Where's Marty Loomis?
Oh, sorry, I never heard of him.
Or the Pigeon Blood Rubies?
Who are you working for, Marlowe?
Don't you remember? I'm one of Slater's boys.
You're a liar.
Not a double-crosser, Toby.
Oh, what do you mean by that?
And when you're on the phone with Chalky, Brother Ziggy is referred to as the stinking Slater. But when Slater's on with you, it's sugar and spice all the way around.
Which means what?
That you're not even close to being on the level with one of them. I discount Chalky because his kind you hire, pay, and forget.
When the job's done, Marlowe, so behave. He's right outside that back door.
It's a little thoughtless of you, isn't it, Toby? The lad's topcoats in hockey might catch cold. That I'd hate to see.
I'll bet. Now look, Marlowe, once more. What are you after?
1 Rubies, 2 Marty Loomis.
And if I can't help you find either of them?
Then I go to Slater.
On whose behalf?
My client, who represents the real owner of the stones.
Named what?
It escapes me, Toby. Let's just call her a lovely lady from France, huh?
From France?
Hmm.
For a minute, I thought you were on the side of law and order.
What says different?
Marty Loomis is dead, Marlowe. Has been all night in the closet of his study at 7710 North Rossmore.
What?
And just so you don't miss the point, one thing more. I found the body. But first, outside, I found something else. Running away, it was a girl, Marlowe. A girl with a French accent.
In just a moment, the second act of Philip Marlowe. But first, for those who delight in the fast action and faster thinking that thwart the evildoer, CBS brings you 3 outstanding examples every Sunday. The Green Llama brings you the adventures of wealthy young Jethro Dumont, who uses his knowledge of the mysterious East to combat evil doings on this side of the Pacific. Call the Police summons Police Commissioner Bill Grant to trail the objectionable offender and bring him to justice. Sam Spade, well, what need to enlarge upon the extraordinary exploits of Dashiell Hammett's brilliant Private Eye, hero of the Maltese Falcon, and many other crime classics. You can find these thrilling examples of mystery adventure delight every Sunday on most of these CBS stations. And now, with our star, Gerald Moore, we return to the second act of Philip Marlowe and tonight's story, The Pigeon's Blood.
When Toby said French accent, it rocked me right back on my heels. I stood there with my mouth open, trying to reconcile death in a closet with the soft, deep brown of Charlene's eyes, while the blonde in front of me twisted her mouth into a victorious smile, tender as a cobra's. I got up and went out the front way, dragging what was left of my pride behind me. I had to know the truth about Charlene, so I called her. She answered on the first ring, and I made my pitch. I said I thought I knew where the rubies were hidden and told her to meet me at 7710 Rossmore. Then I drove to Rossmore and waited, and 5 minutes later, a cab stopped down the street, and she got out. So I went to meet her.
Marlowe, is that you?
Yeah. Come on, this way, Charlene.
Are they here, Marlowe, in this house? The rubies, I mean.
We'll find out, baby. Come on.
But you
Side
said
door's open. I said I wasn't sure, and I'm not. About a lot of things. Here, watch the stairs. You should lead to the study.
Yes.
You still with me?
I'm coming.
Yeah. This is it.
Oh.
Okay. Okay, Charlene. Now, if I've been lied to, this is the place to check. We'll start with that closet there.
The closet?
Yes, open it up. Go on, open it.
All right. No, I can't.
You can't because you already know what's inside, don't you? Well, I'll open it for you.
No. Oh, I didn't do it. I didn't.
You knew he was there, so he must have been in here before.
Yes, I was. I admit it. I tried to see Loomis myself this afternoon. I followed him downtown, but I lost him. When I got back here, I came in and I found him like that. I didn't know what to do. I called you, but then I lied to you because I was afraid.
And you're still afraid, so maybe you're still lying.
No, this time is the truth, I swear.
All of it? You're not holding anything back?
No, that's all of it. Oh, Phil, please don't force me. Please, you must.
Yeah.
What was that?
What was what?
I thought I heard a door close. I must be jumpy. I guess. May I have a cigarette?
Yeah.
Oh, you dropped something. Why, it's a pawn ticket.
Oh. Yeah, it's my brains, can't you tell?
The Ryan Loan Company, corner Hill Street and 8th. At Hill and 8th.
Don't worry about it, Charlene. It's not mine. Belongs to a guy named Chalky who had to hock his winter wardrobe to keep himself in hamburgers. Forget it. You want that cigarette or not?
Not now. Come on, Phil. Let's get out of this room. Come on, please. Phil, there is someone here. A shadow moved on that wall of the back hall.
Hey, you're right. Now, listen, you beat it out that side door. Go back to your hotel and wait there. I'll see who this is.
I want to stay with you.
Oh, now get out of
Please,
here. Hurry.
Be careful, Shirley.
All right, creep, crawl out of the woodwork. Come on. I know you're present because you left your shadow sticking out. Right about here.
Ow!
Well. Slimy little sword-tail salesman himself. What are you doing here?
Well, I'll tell you, Marlowe, I'm just
So you got my name, too, huh?
And more. From a short talk with a platinum blonde named Toby.
Who you fencing for, Slater, her or Loomis?
Fencing? You find things out, don't you? Well, I didn't want to do it. I've been going straight since I got paroled, but legitimate business has been lousy.
So when Loomis wanted you to arrange a deal, you took him up, huh?
Yeah, but right away it got too hot. I had it all set until that blonde started cutting in on Loomis. I don't go for that. Nobody's got a chance in a double cross. For instance, I know what's in the closet, see? And Toby's the one that put him there. She told me.
Toby killed him? Did she have the stones?
I don't know. I guess so. For she was trying to make me go through with the deal. But I turned her down. Then I had to sap that gorilla Chalky to get away.
Ah, it's good, but it won't fit, Slater. Why'd you come back here?
To clean up the joint. With my record, all it would take is for my phone number, even my initials to turn up here, and I'm cooked.
Where does Toby live?
If I tell you, will you give me a break?
You'll tell me anyway and fast, or I'll give you a break on the side of your head. Let's have it talk.
Okay. 3156 South Ogden Drive, Apartment C. Now, how about it, pal? Will you forget you saw me here?
You louse. You're whining because things got tough. If they hadn't, you'd be getting calluses from counting money. You're a crummy spider, Slater, so stay out of my way. Because next time we meet, I'll step on you. The little man rolled his big head up at me and grinned. I looked at it a minute, then shoved it hard to one side and walked out. The way things stood, I figured the next move, which was mine, had to be first a call to the police to report Loomis's murder, and second a fast pressure play on a faster blonde named Toby. But I was wrong on both counts because I was halfway to my car when I found out the next move wasn't mine at all. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught a shadow easing toward me under the cover of the hedge. It was the white-haired duffer again, and the setup was just like before. So I saw no reason why the same maneuver wouldn't work twice. I slowed down to give him plenty of time. When I was sure he was right behind me, I turned fast and swung at thin air.
How many times do you think you can pull that stunt, son?
Okay, it was my mistake.
Yes, it was. And don't move because my gun goes off. I want to ask you a few things.
I don't feel talkative.
Who are you? And what's your racket, son?
Philip Marlowe, private detective. What's yours?
That doesn't happen to be any of your business, son. Let's just say I'm looking for one Vivian Jardot. Happen to know where she is?
Vivian Jardot? Sure. Right now she's in France, Lyon to be specific.
Yeah, she's in France right now, like you're in Madagascar. Save yourself trouble, son. Where's she?
You know, you wouldn't know the truth if it fell on you.
What's your angle, Marlowe?
Oh, come on. Let's not be coy. It's the same as yours, a fistful of rubies.
Well, now, you don't say. And I suppose that's why Vivian Jardot's been following Loomis around all afternoon.
Vivian again. You won't turn loose, will you?
Now, listen, son. The Jardot dame is here in town. I happen to know she hopped off a Norwegian freighter. I finally picked her up right here. She was tagging Loomis, and I tagged her. We played Ring Around the Rosie clear downtown. I lost him in a traffic jam, but I picked up Loomis again for a few minutes at the corner of Hill and 8th. The Jardot girl I lost...
Wait a minute. Did you say Loomis was at Hill and 8th?
Yes, that's right. Why?
Because I know a guy who'll give $6 for a gray topcoat on that corner.
So what?
So whoever said you can't teach an old dog new tricks was nuts, wasn't it? That one's called slap the pistol and bust the old geezer. Sorry, Pop, it had to be. I got business that won't keep. So long. I ran in my car, piled in, and headed down Wilshire Boulevard wide open. Because any way I looked at it, Ryan's pawn parlor at Hill and 8th was home plate, and in the time I'd spent gabbing with Pop, there was a good chance that blood was already being spilled on an old gray topcoat with a lining full of rubies. And when I remembered Charlene had walked out with a pawn ticket for that coat in her hand, I got a little sick. When I got to Hill and 8th, I spotted Ryan's place squeezed into a 4-foot crevice between two tall buildings and dark inside. I cut my lights, parked, reloaded my .38, and walked up the alley to the back door. It was standing open a foot, and inside a flashlight was lying on a table while moving in and out of its beam as she clawed through a rack of second-hand topcoats was Charlene. At her feet, face up on the floor with a nasty gash over one eye, was a man who no doubt used to answer to the name of Ryan. I eased the door open another foot and went in. I got as far as the glow of light before she saw me.
Phil! Oh, no.
Why'd you slug him, honey? You had the ticket. You could have just...
She didn't slug him, Marlowe. I did.
Slater.
Yeah, don't turn around. Just toss your gun back here. Come on. That's it. Well, that takes care of everybody now. We're all here so we can get back to work.
Aren't you forgetting Toby and her trained ape?
No, Toby can't make it. And Chalky won't without her. She can't make it because she's dead. I found a nice closet for her, too. Oh, I told you a fib when I said she killed Loomis. I did that to both of them. Because they were double-crossing me. They were cutting me out of my own deal, and they were laughing about it. I can't stand to have people laugh at me.
It's my fault, Phil. I didn't wait for you. When I realized that Loomis had pawned the coat and not that Chalky, I was sure that he had hidden the rubies in it for safekeeping, so I came here and now...
And so did I, and I caught her. Then I set a little trap for the big, strong man who steps on little spiders. Now you, which coat is it? This one?
No, I don't know.
Oh, so it is this one. Well, give it to me.
No, you can't take it. Stay away from me.
Give me that.
Charlene, don't be a fool. Let him have the coat.
No, the rubies in it are mine. They belong to my father. I came halfway around the world to get them and to take them home, and I won't give them up to this grotesque, ugly little man.
What did you say?
Why, you... Get out!
Slater. He's hit, but...
He sure is, son. The door here was as open as an invitation to the old-timers' picnic. I've been listening. Now, don't move now, either one of you. I've still got some business with Miss Vivian Jardot. Hey, come back here.
Charlene! You missed. That's your last chance. Believe me, you trigger-happy jerk.
She's out the door. Stand aside, son. I've got to get that girl.
I don't think so.
Whose car is that out there? Yours?
Yeah, with a full tank of gas. What are you grinning about?
Okay, son, she's gone. Girl, coat, and rubies. Got away from both of us, didn't she? And from the look on your face, you're not quite sure whether you've lost or won.
Two hectic hours jammed with phone calls, police reports on Toby and Chalky, and long-winded conversation in general went by before the whole mess of dovetailed motives and overlapping authority was straightened out. To the point where Detective Lieutenant Ibarra decided to get along without us and turned me in, my white-haired pal, who I blushed to discover was one Sam Harris, 20 years an officer with the Immigration Service, loose on the town again. In Sam's car, we threaded through the traffic.
Big night, wasn't it, son?
Yeah. You know, Sam, you should have told me who you were and saved yourself that swollen jaw.
Yeah, that's all right. In a mix-up like this one was, a few loose teeth are better than a loose tongue any day. All I knew was that Vivian Jardot was an alien who jumped ship. I didn't know a thing about those rubies until I was right in the middle of it.
She just made up the whole story, huh? About being Charlene Danielle and working here as an illustrator?
That's right.
What are you going to do about her, Harris?
Well, son, as it works out, I'm on her side now.
How's that?
She wants to get back to France, and it's my job to see that she does. There won't be any trouble. You know, she's a crazy kid to try what she did alone. But she made up her mind to get her rubies back, and she did.
Yeah.
She's pretty, too. Or did you happen to notice? You're not listening.
I was looking at that medal you got there on your keychain. Pistol marksmanship champion, New York service range. You know, Harris, when you shot at Charlene tonight, you...
No, wait a minute, son. It was dark, and that medal is 10 years old. Besides, it's not polite to put a man in a spot where he has to argue with his conscience.
My mistake.
Well, there's your car, exactly where I said it'd be. Right across from the airline passenger gate. Someone who had to make a plane in a hurry must have borrowed it. Amazing, isn't it? Good night, Marlowe.
See you again, Sam. And thanks. When Harris drove away, I walked over to my car and got in. But I didn't start up right away. Instead, I just sat there and thought of a plane fading off somewhere in the night. And the girl from France with soft brown eyes. And remembered that I didn't even get a chance to say goodbye. But then I saw it. The note stuck over the ignition key. Scribbled on an old envelope in hurried pencil. All it said was, "Someday, Sherry. Someday."
The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, bringing you Raymond Chandler's most famous character and crime's most deadly enemy, star Gerald Moore, and are produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Script is by Mel Donnelly, Robert Mitchell, and Gene Levitt. Featured in the cast were Elma Lawton, Edgar Barrier, Gloria Blondell, Herb Butterfield, and Barney Phillips. The special music is by Richard Orant. Be sure and be with us again next week when Philip Marlowe says...
Easy money is a sucker's racket. This time it started as a routine search for a rich girl's fiancé, and the trail led to a silent house haunted by a face at the window and blood in an open cedar chest. But before it was over, it became a quest for a corpse that wouldn't sit still.
Oh, will he be in France? The lady took a chance. Hilo the Dane will show. Who could resist romance? You'll be hearing 4 short lines sung sweetly later tonight, and to some bright, lucky CBS listener, they'll be the key to $50,000 in prizes and cash. It's the new Phantom Voice song on CBS's sensational Saturday night Sing It Again program. An hour-long bonanza of prizes, music, and gaiety. Phone calls go out to all the nation asking CBS listeners to solve gay little riddle songs. And for those who guess these riddles, it means a chance at the $50,000 Phantom Award. $25,000 in super prizes for solving the Phantom's identity. $25,000 more in cold cash for answering only one more question about the Phantom. Listen closely when Sing It Again comes to you on most of these same CBS network stations just a little later this evening. This is Roy Rowan speaking. Now, stay tuned for Gangbusters, which follows immediately over most of these same stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Thanks for listening to HOJO Radio. We have more classic radio coming your way next.
Get this and get it straight. Crime is a sucker's road, and those who travel it wind up in the gut of the prison of the grave. There's no other end, but they never learn. This time it started as a routine search for a rich girl's fiancé, and the trail led to a silent house haunted by a face at the window and blood in an open cedar chest. But before it was over, it became a search for a corpse that wouldn't sit still.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of mystery, comes his most famous character and crime's most deadly enemy, as we present The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. Now, with Gerald Moore starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's exciting story, The Busy Body.
Phone jerked me up off my back and out of the sports page at 9:30 in the evening of an already too long day. On the other end was a warm, feminine voice, edged with the kind of self-assurance that means money, and lots of it. But the words were both hurried and panicky, so after I hung up, I reluctantly waded through the sports section with my feet instead of my eyes and headed for the coffee shop at Franklin and Bronson, where my new client, who had identified herself as Liz Stewart, said she'd be waiting. A pair of blue eyes at a table in the corner measured me from haircut to shoelaces, so I took the cue and walked over. After we introduced ourselves, I was waved into the chair opposite her. She leaned toward me and started with a rush.
Mr. Marlowe, I've got to find a man named Dean Howard as soon as possible.
Not exactly a new switch.
He's my fiancé. We plan to notify my Uncle Hanley of our engagement tonight.
Who is Uncle Hanley?
Uncle Hanley Stewart of Stewart Aluminum.
Okay, go ahead.
Dean Howard was to meet me at 7, but he didn't show up.
Mm-hmm.
And then about 7:45 he called. He started to tell me something that he referred to as a horrible mistake, but before he could get it out, we were cut off. Well, I tried to call him back.
coffee?
Hmm?
Coffee.
No.
Okay.
I tried to call him back, but there was no answer. So I went to his house, but it was locked and dark. And yet his car was still parked outside.
Uh-huh. Well, look, Miss Stewart, why don't you save yourself $50, go home and wait for an apologetic phone call, huh?
What do you mean?
Well, this stacks up as being a case of cold feet or a little celebration that got out of hand. Either way, there's nothing to worry about.
I've come to you for help, Marlowe, not a pat on the head.
Okay. I'll assume it's my error for the moment. How long have you known this Dean Howard?
I met him at a party about 3 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Hanley and I both liked him tremendously right from the first.
I suppose you've considered the possibility of another woman?
Well, of course, I'm not a child.
I can see that.
Well, Dean has been deeply troubled for the past week. He wouldn't tell me why, but I'm certain that this business tonight is tied in with it. Something's wrong, and I want you to find out what it is.
All right, but I'm no leg man for Cupid, so if it turns out to be nothing more than a guy's heart beating in double time, I drop it. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
She gave me a short list of posh joints she and Dean Howard sometimes visited, and his address, which was 312 Normandy. She said I could reach her at home, which was 28 Roxbury Drive in Beverly Hills. Well, $50 is $50, so after she left, I spent a handful of nickels checking the list by phone and drew a complete blank. So I drove out Los Feliz to Normandy and found the number, 312. As I walked up to the door and leaned on the bell, I got the feeling that I was being watched. There was no answer, so I tried the door. It was locked. I threw a look over my shoulder as I walked around the side of the house and caught a glimpse of a face in a window next door, just before the curtain was dropped back into place. The back door of 312 was locked, too, I found out, as did the face next door, which was watching me again from one of the rear windows. There was one answer to that, so I went out in the street and up the steps of the house next door and knocked, good and loud.
What do you want?
My name's Marlowe, lady. I'm a detective. You may be able to help me.
A detective?
Mm-hmm.
Well, come right in, Mr. Marlowe. It's about time's all I have to say. I'm Agatha Lambrigger. What's he been up to?
Who?
Well, you're investigating that bachelor next door, aren't you?
Yes. Oh, how'd you know?
Stands to reason. I've known all along he's a suspicious character.
Yes?
Lived there a year now. Comes and goes at all hours. Drives that fancy car out there. Wears fine clothes, but nobody seems to know what he does or where he gets all his money.
Well, look, Mrs.
And girls.
Oh.
Well, believe you me, they don't come to clean his house.
Hmm.
Never gets cleaned. But they come just the same. Why, only tonight there was one. Some blonde in a white dress. I tell you, I've never
Mrs.
seen
Lambrigger,
her.
did the girl go inside?
Well, no. But she tried to. The door was locked. And it's Miss Lambrigger.
Oh, how stupid of me. Well, tell me, did you notice Mr. Howard come home tonight?
Well, I didn't exactly see him come home. But he was over there all right. And not alone either.
Is that so? Another girl?
No, it was only some man.
Oh.
But it still bears out what I've been saying. Because I just happened to glance out of my window at this one here across from that one of his, you see.
Yes, sir.
Well, a light was on over there. And I could look straight down the hallway. And do you know what?
What?
Those two grown men were roughhousing like a pair of hoodlums in that hall. Wrestling they were, like ordinary ruffians. I tell you, I never saw the like. I got a good look at him, and I'd certainly know him if I saw him again.
Well, how'd the fight come out?
Fight?
Yeah.
What the... Oh, the fight. Well, I can't say about that. My phone rang. It was Lenore Crowley. She simply talks her ear off you when she gets
does.
started. So when I finally got back to the window, when I happened to look out again, it was dark over there. So I never did find out what actually happened. But
Yes,
I
well,
think
thanks
that
very much for your help. I really must run.
Oh, and another thing. The noise and the drinking that's gone on in that house. Why, you wouldn't believe it. Oh, you're leaving?
As soon as possible, yeah.
But you still haven't told me what he's up to.
Well, I'm not at liberty to do that.
Oh, well, that's a shame.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be here all the time, you know, and I'll certainly keep an eye on that house.
Oh, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your going to all this trouble just for me. Bonsoir, Miss Lambrigger. I backed out of that wind tunnel, got in my car, and drove noisily around the corner. Then I cut my lights, turned quietly into an alley behind the house, and stopped. Slipped through Howard's back gate and up the side of the house, found a window that could be persuaded, and went in. Yeah, Howard was a lousy housekeeper, and everything that didn't get brushed off in normal traffic was covered with dust. I found my way to the room opposite Agatha Lambrigger's observation window and ran smack into her first lie. Where she said there was a hallway, there was a solid wall, papered with purple roses and hung with 4 dingy pictures in bronze frames, 2 on each side of a big, ugly mirror. There were 2 hallways, but no angle at which either could be seen from her window. Furthermore, there was no sign of a struggle. One hall led to the study, the other to the bedroom, and I checked both. But still, there was no indication of a fight. On my way out, I barked my shin on the nose of a lion carved on the corner of an oversized cedar chest, just as the abrupt sound of someone at the door brought me to a rigid halt. Whoever it was had the patience of an 8-year-old on circus day. So I set myself up as the type who might live in a joint like this and answered.
What's the matter with the lights, Howard? Blow a fuse? Or could this be some new economy measure?
I like it this way. I don't think I know you.
You should, Howard, you should. I called you yesterday about a certain money matter. The name is Leo. Don't go for your gun, Howard.
Well, since yours is pointed at my third rib, why should I?
Well, like I told you on the phone, my boss is anxious. You're way overdue, Howard. I want that $50,000 the boss loaned you 3 months ago. Have it for me the day after tomorrow. All of it. Without fail.
He knows I'm good for my debts. Why all the pressure?
Well, maybe he figures your investments aren't so smart. Like maybe you've been blowing too much on that second-rate canary, Carol.
Oh, yeah, Carol.
I remember.
Mm.
She's your girl. Well, that's none of my business. See you day after tomorrow about the same time. And if you get a headache from worrying about paying off, just think of the one you'll have if you don't pay. It'll be like 10 times this. Oh! Good night.
The .45 in his hand caught the side of my head, and I went out cold. When I opened my eyes, the room had shrunk until there wasn't enough space left to stretch out in. And the climb to my feet, was as easy as roller skating through a log jam. And it wasn't until I found a match and had a light that I knew why. Somebody had moved me from the front door and crammed me into a broom closet like a bag of wet wash. When I got out, I saw that my cubbyhole was off the hall of the bedroom. I listened, but there was no sound in the house, so I started moving. But stopped when I noticed something else. The big cedar chest with carved lions on the corners that had been closed before now was standing open. I struck another match. Inside on the bottom was a thick red puddle of blood. Blew out the match and was in the middle of a mental apology to Liz Stewart when it came. I ran for the front door in time to see Agatha charge out of the driveway and down the street. Stark terror twisting her face.
Help! Help!
Hey, Miss Lambrigger, hold it!
Oh, Mr. Marlowe! Mr. Marlowe!
What is it? What happened?
I saw him, Mr. Marlowe. I saw him. Up by the alley near the hedge. He's dead, Mr. Marlowe. Dead in my backyard.
All right. Now take it easy, Agatha. Who was it?
He's there now, lying on his back close to the hedge, and he's dead. What'll we do?
Come on, we'll have a look. You can show me where he is.
Well, all right. He's right back here. I happened to look out my rear window, and I saw something move. The dogs had been getting in my pansies lately, and I thought this was another. So I came out to chase him away. That's when I saw the body. It's right back here. It's gone.
Mm-hmm. Now, look, Miss Lambrigger. I've got a headache. I'm getting a little tired of this. You saw a body here just like you saw a fight in a hallway from your window. You're so anxious to be in the middle of things, you'd make up any kind of a
No,
story.
I'm not. No, I'm not. I saw that fight, and I saw Dean Howard's body, too. It was here, I tell you.
Where? Show me exactly.
Well, right about there, I'd
Oh,
say.
sure. And I suppose it... Hey, wait a minute. Yeah. My apologies, baby. There is something here. Could be blood. Here's 2 dimes and a bar receipt from the tulip room on the strip.
Oh, good heavens. What'll you do now? Raid the place? You can use my phone.
Thanks, but until we know where the body is, we better play it cagey. Now, let's keep this a secret between us. That'll take a lot of courage, I know, but I can trust you, can't I?
I won't open my mouth to a soul, Mr.
Well, that's
Marlowe.
great. That's splendid. Now, you better go inside and stay there until you hear from me. Who knows? You may yet be a heroine, Miss Lambrigger. The bar receipt was a long shot. When I was still 2 blocks away from the tulip room, I knew it had paid off because a fluorescent banner, 4x12, draped over the front of the squat square building, extolled the vocal virtues of one Carol Cody. I parked across the street, went in, and found a dressing room door and knocked. She distinctly said, "Come in," but when I did, I thought the room was empty, until a small handful of spangled satin costume hopped up from behind a screen in the corner. I made a sight-unseen introduction. It was only a moment later that a tall brunette, filling a white silk blouse and snug, dark slacks, stepped out, tossed a few pounds of glossy black hair away from her face, and gestured me into a chair.
Which paper did you say you were from, Marlowe?
I didn't, honey. I'm a private detective.
I can't use it.
Don't give odds on it, baby. Not yet, anyway, huh? Let's talk first. For instance, what's with you and Dean Howard?
Dean Howard is a low-crawling thing.
That's strange. Had it you loved him?
I didn't till tonight when I found out that he has 2 heads. That's so he can lie and keep a straight face with one while he laughs up his sleeve with the other. Nuts to him. Nuts to Liz Stewart and her money, and nuts to you. I hate Dean Howard enough to kill him, and I might just do that.
I don't think you will, no, because somebody beat you to it.
You mean Howard's dead?
Looks that way, yeah. I'm not sure because he won't stay in one place long enough.
Well, if you're trying to shock me, you're wasting your time. I'm not sorry. I think we've got company.
Keep talking. I'll get him.
As you say, my friend, the music business is just as lousy as any other dodge, and I can prove it.
Come here. You're a good listener, Bud, so join the party. Who are you? Why are you listening out there? Come on.
No. Just a minute. I wasn't listening. I was looking for you, Marlowe. I'm Ward Odom, Mr. Hanley Stewart's assistant.
You're doing fine. Don't stop now.
Well, ever since I learned that Miss Stewart hired you, Marlowe, I've been trying to talk to you. I followed you here from that place on Normandy because I must know what you found out so far.
Why? What business is it of yours?
Because, Mr. Marlowe, I doubt very much that you even know of the robbery.
Robbery? What robbery?
More than $40,000 worth of negotiable securities was stolen from Mr. Stewart's safe this evening.
You get all your information at keyholes?
And I have reason to believe that the man you're looking for took them. Of course, I don't dare accuse him without proof of his relationship with Liz, Mr. Stewart's niece. If I were wrong, it would cost me my job.
Odom, did Liz know about the robbery when she hired me?
Why, of course.
Oh, brother. Look, see this? Her name is Carol. She's involved right up to her mascara in the whole mess. Don't let her out of your sight till I get back.
Me? Why, you cheap shot.
Shut up! And as for being cheap, I'll take care of you when I get back.
In just a moment, the second act of Philip Marlowe. But first, 3 gentlemen with highly varying but equally effective approaches to dealing with crime entertain you with their deeds of daring on CBS every Sunday. Jethro Dumont, alias the Green Llama, Police Commissioner Bill Grant of Call the Police, and Dashiell Hammett's Sam Spade. These 3 sterling gentlemen all make their appearances tomorrow on most of these same CBS network stations. And now with our star, Gerald Moore, we return to the second act of Philip Marlowe and tonight's story, The Busy Body.
After convincing Ward Odom that his greatest contribution to the cause would be staying close, but not too close to the violent lady in slacks, I piled into my car and started for Beverly Hills in a beautiful liar named Liz. I didn't stop until I was at number 28 Roxbury Drive, out of my car and walking fast up the semicircle of gravel driveway that led to the carefully antique front door. But then, for 2 good reasons, I stopped again. The first, a squad car parked ahead of me that said everybody except Marlowe knew all about the bonds Mr. Hanley Stewart could no longer call his own. The second reason, and more important, was my client, Liz Stewart, sneaking out of a side door and hurrying toward a gray coupe. I stepped back into the shadow of a squat palm and waited for her to come abreast of me. Late date, Miss Stewart?
What? Marlowe, why, you startled me.
Considering everything, it's the least I can do.
What do you mean?
I don't like clients who lie to me. So if you don't mind, I'll just stroll along with you while you assure me you can explain everything.
But I can, Marlowe. Just give me a chance, please.
All right. Why didn't you tell me that 40 grand worth of negotiable bonds disappeared from your uncle's safe at the same time as Howard?
Oh, because I didn't want you to be prejudiced, to be looking for a thief from the start. If Dean did take those bonds, he had a reason.
Like being fond of money?
No, like being forced to do what he did.
All right, let's say he was forced. What then?
Well, then I wanted to help him, to get to him before the police. They'd arrest him in a minute.
And you, on the other hand, would get the bonds back to your uncle, convince him it was all a mistake, and talk him out of telling the law, huh? And with your own dough, you would help Howard out of the spot he was in. Is that it?
Yes. But you haven't proved that Dean took the bonds.
No, I haven't. Could have been anyone who knew the combination of the library safe. Which includes how many?
Aside from Uncle Han and myself, just the family lawyer and Mr. Odom.
Yeah, what about Odom? Could he have done it, Liz?
No, I don't think so, as much as I dislike him. You see, Marlowe, for years, Odom's been very close to Uncle Han. He's had 1,000 opportunities to steal if he wanted to. Well, like this afternoon, for instance. He had $10,000 worth of the bonds with him today.
What was he doing with all that dough? Paying gas bills?
He was going to sell them for my uncle. But the transaction fell through, so he brought them back to the house and put them back in the safe. Anyway, Marlowe, I don't think he'd have the courage to steal.
I know what you mean. I've already met Mr. Odom.
When?
Oh, about a half hour ago. In a nightclub called the Tulip Room. Odom thinks Dean is guilty, Liz, but he's afraid to mention it publicly till he knows a little more.
What's a nightclub got to do with Dean?
Carol Cody.
Who?
She's Dean's girlfriend.
Marlowe, you're crazy.
I talked to her, honey. She's a singer there. Told me that she and Howard were more than chummy, but that she gave him the air tonight when she found out about you.
And you believe that?
Mm-hmm. Now that I've had a little time, I believe even more. Details that she never bothered to mention. Details like Dean Howard and Carol Cody playing you for a sucker. He gains your confidence, then the combination of the safe, and then goodbye. But you see, the end was a switch, Liz. Dean didn't...
Dean didn't what?
Hmm?
What is it, Marlowe? What are you staring at?
Back of my car there. That's not gas dripping on the driveway. The color's too red. Liz, stay back.
No, Marlowe. I don't want to. I want to... Marlowe! It's Dean. He's dead, Marlowe!
Yeah. That, Liz, is the switch I was talking about. I think Dean Howard not only crossed you, but Carol Cody as well.
She did it! She killed him! She killed him because she...
All right. Now, listen. Get inside. Tell the police about this. Do you hear me? But first, give me a 5-minute lead. I'll take your car. I want to get to Carol Cody before the law does. Without saying another word, Liz Stewart, her face drawn and streaked with tears, handed me the keys to her car and turned and walked slowly back to the house. I took one long look at the blood-soaked shirt front on the body I had been a step behind all night. Then got into Liz's car and pointed it back toward the Tulip Room. 20 minutes later, when my knock on the locked dressing room door brought no answer, I had kicked my way in. Alone and half-conscious in the middle of the floor was Ward Odom, the man I'd assigned to stand sentry over the brunette.
Oh, Marlowe, she tricked me. Asked for a cigarette, and I went to light it.
She swung. It adds, Odom, and you're lucky she let it go at that. It was more permanent in Howard's case.
Oh, then you found his body, Marlowe.
Yeah, in the trunk of my car.
Oh, how awful. And she did all that, this Carol Cody?
Yes and no. She must have had help, Odom, because, first of all, it takes something stronger than the chanteurs to keep shifting a corpse from cedar chest to garden to car, at the rate that Howard was being moved. And second, an old crow named Agatha Lambriger saw a man roughhousing with Howard over at his own place, not a woman.
You mean there was a witness to the murder, Marlowe?
Well, more or less.
And you have no idea who the murderer is?
No. And that, Odom, is all the more reason why I want to catch up with Carol Cody. Happen to know where she lives?
Why, yes, just at the Grayfield Apartment Hotel on North Havenhurst Drive.
North Havenhurst.
It's a room 118.
118.
And I think that it's... Marlowe, wait, my top coat is gone.
What?
Yes, and she was wearing slacks, remember? Marlowe, maybe she's leaving town disguised as a man.
It's a point, Odom. I still think I'll try the apartment hotel first.
Open. The bags are over there, boys. Did you get the Marlowe, what are you doing here?
Not doubling for a bellhop, so get over there, sit down, and keep your hands in your lap, because if I have to, I'll shoot.
But I don't understand.
I'll make it real plain. I think you murdered Dean Howard because he double-crossed you after he emptied Hanley Stewart's safe.
And I think you're out of your mind.
Which brings us to a position called stalemate, and that in turn makes this a good time to call the cops.
I didn't kill Dean. I swear I didn't. Oh, listen to me. What you said about Dean double-crossing me after he stole the bonds is true, but not the way you think it is.
Second verse.
He didn't want to just cut me out of my share, Marlowe. He wanted to return all the bonds intact. He really fell in love with Liz Stewart and decided to play all-American boy.
You mean he decided to call it all off after he'd stolen the bonds?
Yes, Marlowe. That was the reason we argued tonight.
Well, it's a stronger reason than one I already had for your committing murder. Baby, you wanted that money bad.
No, you're wrong.
Come back here. Why did you belt Odom and run? And don't bother denying that you did because I just left him. And he's minus good health and that top coat over there. So if you think
I
that you...
can explain that. I was scared that a confession out of Dean would get me into hot water. And when you showed and then Odom,
Just a minute, Carol.
But Marlowe,
Just a minute, will you? I think I've got the answer.
What answer?
It's Dust, Carol. Dust and what an old gossip swears she saw from her window. Right now, I've got to get over to her place before she ends up looking like the late Mr. Howard.
Well, then you believe me, Marlowe, about not killing Dean.
I don't know. But since you've been in this cheap swindle from the start, we'll just tuck you into an old-fashioned wardrobe. Just for safekeeping, baby. Outside in Liz's car, I slammed my foot down hard against the accelerator and didn't ease up until I screeched to a stop, away from 310 North Normandy, where I knew murder was scheduled to happen again. I was next to a pair of half-open French doors through which I could see Agatha Lambricker sitting erect in a straight-back chair. I was happy that I hadn't taken any longer in getting there. I was also happy that the man standing opposite her, gun in hand, the man who had murdered Dean Howard, had his back to me. I got a firm grip on the .38 in my
You've
hand.
been so nosy, Miss Lambricker. And it's too bad that Marlowe had to let me know you've been a witness when I killed Dean Howard. A roughhouse, I think you called it.
A roughhouse is what I thought at the time. But when I saw Dean Howard's body out in the alleyway, I knew...
You knew I killed him. Everything would have been simple if you hadn't had your nose out a mile. I was going to run over him, and it would have looked like an accident. But I had to move the body after you saw it. Marlowe's car looked good until I could dispose of it. But there's no point telling you all this. You won't be able to gossip about it, Miss Lambricker. I'm sorry. Sorry, but that's the way it has to be. You or me.
I vote for you, Odom. Drop your gun before I close the polls for good, real noisy like. Come on, drop it.
No, don't shoot. I dropped it.
Okay. I'll move to the middle of the room, hands high.
Marlowe, I didn't want to do it, but I had to kill him.
Dean Howard was going to return the bonds he took.
Marlowe,
and that
please
would have left
listen
you in
to
a
me.
spot, wouldn't it? Because Howard only stole 30 grand out of that safe. You were taking 10 grand to legitimately sell for your boss.
I know what
And when you went to
I know what
return them, you
happened.
saw there'd been a theft. And you decided to make the most of it and let somebody else take the rap for the whole 40 grand.
Keep your eye on Mr. Marlowe. He's
Don't worry, a man who shoots another man in the back has no guts. He won't try anything while I'm looking at him.
No, Marlowe. I don't have any more guts than it takes to jump behind a woman's skirt. I'll leave you choked to death if you take one more step. Now lower your gun and listen.
All right, let her go, Odom.
Sure, let it go. Just as long as you cooperate, Marlowe.
Marlowe, don't be a
Shut
fool.
up! Shut up!
Marlowe, shoot! He'll kill me anyway. Shoot!
No!
Shoot!
No, don't shoot! Marlowe, don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
Huh. You were right, Marlowe. No guts.
It was an ambulance, a half a dozen squad cars, and a police captain included, and 3 long hours of questions and answers in triplicate later, before 310 North Normandy and environs settled back to being just another quiet house on just another quiet street. With, of course, the exception of Miss Agatha Lambricker, who now would never return to normalcy. And as we sipped hot tea together and a clock someplace deep in another room struck twice,
Now, Philip, well, I'm sure I had this
she was
right.
still going strong.
Dean Howard owed money, so he and that worthless singer decided that he should get friendly with your wealthy client and then at the propitious moment rob her uncle, correct?
Correct, yeah.
But what I don't understand is how you knew it was that awful man Odom.
Well, there were 2 things, honey. His anxiety to get me to Carol, together with a streak of dust the length of Odom's topcoat sleeve, all added up to a hunch.
That, Philip, I don't understand.
Well, you got to take them in reverse order. I saw dust on Odom's topcoat sleeve when I was in Carol Cody's apartment. That reminded me of the dust all over Howard's place.
Oh, a mess, that house.
Yeah, luckily. And the dust was the length of the sleeve, as though somebody had brushed against the wall, coated thick with it.
As one would in searching for something, hmm?
That's right. Now, there's another thing. You saw Howard and another man roughhousing in a hall by looking out of that window there.
Mm-hmm.
Where, Miss Lambriger, no hall is visible, but where there is a mirror.
Oh, then you mean I actually saw a reflection.
Yes, darling, you did. Dean Howard hid the bonds behind the mirror.
Which tilted so that I saw the reflection of a side hall.
That's right.
Well, now, Philip, one last question. Why did Oda move the body?
Well, if it's the last, I'll answer it. Because he didn't want Howard's death to appear a murder on the night the bonds were stolen. It was better if he died accidentally and wasn't connected with a theft.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, well, now look, Miss Lambriger.
Excuse me, I'll only be a minute.
Yeah, but Miss Lambriger...
Hello? Oh, hello, Judith. Yes, wasn't it thrilling?
Miss Lambriger, really,
Darling, it all started so innocently. My part, I mean. Well, it was about 7
Miss Lambriger, I have...
Philip, I'll be with you in a minute.
Oh,
Philip, who? Why, the detective, the one I mentioned earlier.
a long minute, I'm sure. Goodbye, girl. When I got outside, the silence was deafening. And then I remembered that I still had a client up on Roxbury Drive who I had to see. And that there were automobiles to be exchanged, and maybe, if I could find them, some right words to say to a girl who had a very rough night. So I started driving that way, slowly. But 10 minutes later, when I was halfway there, I stopped, turned around, and headed back for 310 North Normandy, and my .38 that I'd forgotten after a handful of policemen had finished examining it. It wasn't until I was at Agatha Lambriger's front door again that I realized something more important.
Well, then this Odom, this killer, grabbed me as a shield, Judith, and told Marlowe he had guts enough. Guts was his word, my dear.
Yes, well, I could get my gun another day.
The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, bringing you Raymond Chandler's most famous character and star, Gerald Moore, and are produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Script is by Mel Donnelly, Robert Mitchell, and Gene Levitt. Featured in the cast were Lois Corbett, Lorette Philbrandt, Lynn Allen, Peter Leeds, and John Stevenson. The special music is by Richard Orant. Be sure and be with us again next week when Philip Marlowe says...
It began as the threat of a beating that turned into murder with a brown-eyed blonde, a jovial hippopotamus, and a tough ex-soldier of fortune, all complicating the problem until I got next to the key man.
Will you be listening when $51,000 go on the block during Sing It Again tonight? $26,000 in fabulous prizes for solving the mystery of the Phantom Voice, and additional $25,000 in cold, hard cash for answering only one more question about the Phantom. There's many another prize, too, for unriddling the smart, tuneful little riddle songs that keep Sing It Again moving at a terrific clip for the hour that it's on the air. It'll be here a little later on most of these same CBS network stations. This is Roy Rowan speaking. Stay tuned now for Gangbusters, which follows immediately over most of these same CBS stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Thank you for listening to HOJO Radio. We'll be back again very soon.